shack at. The bottles getting nippy up the crack and we stacking chips. All of it's what I want. Plus money winners, that's what I'm on. You can say I'm gone. I prefer elevated pub sports radio. Time to get educated, get produced. Leave the juice, letting loose with so much abuse that the bookies wanna call a truce. They getting slaughtered. Can't forget Jeff and low baggers in the chat. That's a lethal weapon 'cause we be pubbing.
What up, cappers, gamblers, punters, hustlers, low baggers? Big Thursday show here. Happy Thursday, February 2nd to all of you. Thank you for watching Betting with the Bag right here on Pub Sports Radio, an all basketball show today. There's Rayhan Hyder in the house, Danny Lopez, Saturated, J-Dub, Billy Friedrich, Dan Kelly. By the way, Dan, I did tail your top 20 parlay, Power and McNeely, and I got a huge number on it. I got plus 351, plus 110 and plus 115 parlayed together, plus 351. So I did tail your PGA top 20 parlay with Power and McNeely. So I have golf action. And I'm excited about it. There's Clint, star of the Die Hard MMA podcast, Late Night UFC this weekend. We have the all-day horse show first. All-day thoroughbred show. We have three big prep races for the Kentucky Derby, and I'm really excited about all of them. We got the Withers over at the Big A. We got the Holy Bull over at Gulfstream, and then we have the Robert B. Lewis over at Santa Anita. So three big prep races. It's going to be really, really fun. I'm hosting alongside Razor Sharp Picks, and we're going to have a bunch of great thoroughbred cappers rolling with us. Oh, and Big A's canceled, says Sky Dragon. Is that on Saturday it's canceled? Whoa. Okay, we got big news coming in that I've good thing I haven't spent hours prepping for it, and I haven't. I've been focusing on this week's action, but Sky Dragon, can we get more information on that? Von Polo says college basketball, my favorite now. Friday and Saturday, yeah. Oh, so it's canceled today. Friday and Saturday is good? Okay. Big A canceled today, Friday, Saturday. Good. Please tell me that's the case. Von Polo, yes, college basketball has been a moneymaker all year for us, and I expect it to continue to be. Because we have no NHL, we added 2 more games, so we have 12 games. Oh, they're running today and not Friday, Saturday. Oh, that's awful news. Oh, I guess it's just too cold. It's just too cold. It's freezing. It becomes freezing cold here shortly. So I guess that's the situation. There's Trotwam in the house, Rez Mob, Astute Chaos, Nash Nate Celtics trifecta, cash there. Astute Chaos coming off a 3-0 day. Saturated says, can we make a rule that says we can't take OKC unless they're dogs from now until the end of time? Thieves by Law in the house. Ooh, Thieves by Law, a name that I don't recognize. Says, let's fucking go. I love it. Thieves by Law in the house. Yesterday was very frustrating. Very frustrating. In NCAA basketball, it started off on the wrong foot with Penn State losing badly, but Florida dominated the entire game against Tennessee. The unfortunate thing was I thought Tennessee would put up enough points for us to still get to the over. They did not. Then Belmont loses by a point. I thought they had it. And Utah State was dominant. Should have been a first half full game spot. It was just a full game spot. So 2 and 3, very disappointing. Extremely disappointing. Now in NHL, the Bruins -1 was a glorious casher. The only person who cashed the better line than I did. Now I'm sure some of you guys did take the puck line, but I got the -1 line at plus 133. Nut Flush Allen takes the team total over 3.5 at plus 135. That was a thing of beauty, and he was focusing on Samsonov, and Samsonov doesn't look as good as he's looked. So we'll see what the All-Star break does for the Leafs goaltending, because that was, I believe, his 8th straight game, which I think was a career high or close to a career high for him in his, he's always been in a platoon type of situation, and Matt Murray hurt right now. So Bruins -1 plus 133 was nice, easy casher. And then in NBA, I thought I was completely in business. The Orlando-Philadelphia game went way under. Sacramento-San Antonio went way under. So I'm in a situation where I can have a nice, big, beautiful day. But the Raptors first quarter lost, and Toronto-Utah under 230.5 got killed. Toronto ended up pushing the game. And then Atlanta-Phoenix, the whole night's on the line. for profit. And I have the under 231.5. It was a complete blowout, and I lost that by a half point. A full fourth quarter of meaningless basketball, and I had to, talk about something we talk about a lot. I can't let the losses just destroy me. I need to be able to handle them okay. You don't need to handle them well, but just handle them okay. And God, I just took some deep breaths. I was like, don't now have a sleepless night because of these bullshit buckets at the end of a meaningless basketball game. So, but losing that by a half point really hurt. It hurt. And I kind of, but in saying that, I'm pumped up. I'm ready to get to work. I can't wait to break down the NBA card with our guy LJ from H-Town, whom you can party with at Pubapalooza. Pubapalooza, baby. LJ gonna be rocking at Pubapalooza, and we all are. And we have some new stuff that we're gonna be announcing here in the next week or so. So I'm really, really excited about that. There's Rayhan Hyder. He'll be there as well. We need Noli Knows there. Noli Knows in the chat. Rayhan Hyder says Lakers tonight. Rocco, we're now with no NHL and full basketball. I loved it. God, the cappers who only focus on NBA, I get why it's so appealing. So I've already made 5 bets in NBA on a 7-game card. I tacked it, and I'm really excited about capping it with you guys. There are 2 bets I know I want to make on the 12-game NCAA basketball card, but I put in some extra time in both NBA and NCAA basketball, so I'm expecting a great show here because of you guys in the chat and our esteemed guests. We have LJ from H-Town and NBA and Conor Mac and NCAA basketball. I'm pumped up. So thank you guys all so much for joining us. Viper, Thieves by Law, Stu Chaos, RVD 420, Sky Dragon, Trotwam, Res Mob, Series Business, BJ, Mike M, DC Capper, Mo Harris, Imp 13. Mike M says Boston first half team total over. Boston first half over and full game over. If you see those posted, play on, gang. Nice job, Mikey. Nice job. Jason Turgi, Rocco Rogers, Dan Kelly says Eric Van Rooyen top 40 goes off in 20 minutes. I'm not going to get in on that, Eric Van Rooyen, but I did parlay these top 20s that you gave us. Imp said missed on the Sabres pick, hit the no goal first 10 under 1.5 in the Bruins game to make up for the L's. Good job. Lee Davis ready to get to work. Rocco says Grizz money, first half money low. So glad I did not go full game. There's Nutflush Allen. Man, I hope you follow Nutflush Allen on Twitter. He's sure rolling, but he's not really a streaky capper. He's just a winning capper, and he spent a lot of time on the hockey games last night. He moved on Boston Bruins team total over 3.5 plus 135. Another great job. We need Nutflush and Kristen in San Antonio. I need to see you guys flying past on those, what are they called? The scooters, the moped, whatever those little things are called. I want to see that badly. Pineapple Orange ready to go. Says now that Tom Brady retired, is he still the Michael Jordan of football? Well, I've never seen anyone spell Michael Jordan wrong, Pineapple Orange. That's the first time I've ever seen. The man has so much respect in the world that I've never in my life seen anybody spell his name wrong.
That's how you say it in French. Michael Jordan, That's how you say it. Come on. And by the way, shout out to Res Mob, about to be a grandfather, and he's watching in the waiting room.
Oh, wow. Is that real? Whoa, that's wild. I missed that. Oh, wow. Oh, it says, I need a shout out today, Jimmy. I'm in the waiting room, about to be a grandfather. Wow, that is so exciting. Rez, congratulations, man. That is so exciting. He's a boy or girl? What is are you going to be a grandfather to a boy or a girl? That's big. That's big. I'd love to hear that. Dan Kelly, Top Set, Troy Torrance, Von Polo, everybody ready to get off just because they canceled that Wizards game because of flight issues leaving Texas. A lot of problems in Texas because it's freezing cold. It's freezing cold for the next couple of days. Mr. Always Profit in the house. Craig Wood, Stimmy, OG. All right. I'm excited. I'm pumped up here. I'm very pumped up. I have moved on. I got to open my capping last night and this morning on NBA, which was refreshing. And maybe this is exactly what I need to get hot, which I need to badly. And maybe your next guest is just the capper for me to do it with. It's a girl, and her name is Peyton. Oh, that's cool, Rez. That's exciting. Congratulations, Rez, my guy. That's wonderful news. The family growing stronger. All right, let's bring on your guest here for our Thursday. And guess what? We're going to have some consistency with LJ in the next couple of weeks. He will be our Wednesday guest next week and the week after. And that helps. I really think the more continuity you can have on a show really helps. So he's ready to rock. Yes. Enough says Kristen and I are looking at flights now. God, it's going to be fun, man. Please welcome from Houston, Texas, LJ from H-Town. LJ, what up, my man? You are muted, my guy. I think I caught you. Oh, and we got there we go. Now we're rocking. Let's hear him. Okay, we got to get LJ's audio right, so we'll pull him out, and Jose will get that figured out. All right. Pineapple Orange says, I wish we all make $1 bajillion. So, judging by the way he spelled bajillion, I don't think we should get too on him for how he spelled Jordan. Okay, let's get to work now. I'm going to get things started, and then we will make sure that Jose, why don't you send LJ a link on something else so that we can you can just tell me that he's good to go. Okay, let's get to work now. We start with Lakers, Pacers, Gainbridge Fieldhouse in Indianapolis, Indiana, and I already moved on the under. The under 240. Let's pull up the line history and see what we are dealing with here. And this is going to be a fun one, a very, very fun one. And I thought almost all things pointed to an under for me. Let's take a look here. So he's saying, LJ, check your mic settings and see if your levels are going up and down. So when LJ gives me the thumbs up, we'll get him right back rolling with us here. Move that here. Move that there. All right, let's roll here. Line history-wise, this opened up with the Lakers at -1.5 at -110. They're now -1.5 at -103, a 7-cent move towards the Pacers, who are going to be welcoming back Tyrese Halliburton, making his return tonight. Their leading scorer at 20.2 points per game and leader in assists at 10.2 points per game. He's been sidelined with elbow and knee injuries for 10 games. They've lost 10 of their last 11. They did not look good without him in the lineup. This total opened up at 239 at Pinnacle. It's now at 240, and it's juiced to the over. Let's see. Someone's hanging at 240.5. Yes. Bet 365 is hanging a 240.5. So I could have got a half point better bet here. So let's take a look here. We have 63% of the tickets and 79% of the cash on the LA Lakers. A lot of people drinking the Lakers juice right now. Totals wise, we have 57% of tickets on the over and 48% of the cash. So that's how we stand right now. Lake Show getting +1 at plus monies, says Saturated. By the way, Res Mob is on Milwaukee against IUPUI. They've been a fade all season. We have every other afternoon basketball game set for us. So we have every other afternoon college basketball, and we just left alone the 11 p.m. game here. All right, so let's break this down and set it up here. Lakers are 2-3 over their past 5, and they're playing at a pace at 99.74 possessions a game. That is much slower than what they were running 2 weeks ago. 2 weeks ago, they're running 5 extra possessions a game here. I'm sure Jose will be able to handle this, but it looks like we are set here, except we got, let me just move this here, see if I can get that out. Okay, no, I won't do that. Okay, let's just try and bring on LJ right now and see if he's in business. LJ, you have that second open. Can you cut that one, get that out, and then have that one that's working here, rocking, and then there we go. Now you're in business. All right. Please welcome to the show, without further ado, LJ from H-Town. LJ, how are you?
How are we doing now, Jimmy?
Your money in the bank, LJ. Your money in the bank. 7-game NBA card here. Lakers, Pacers is what we are starting with. I'm just about to set the finishing touches on the table for you to take over. Lakers 2-3, 99.74 possessions a game. Indiana Pacers 1-4, 100.7 possessions a game. And first off, the Lakers' slower pace makes me want the under 240. And then Halliburton coming back. I know that he's going to help this squad, but is he going to help them right here and right now? Lakers coming off snapping their 2-game losing streak with a 129-123 overtime victory at the Knicks on Tuesday. LeBron 28, 11, and 10. Anthony Davis went for 27, and Hachimura played well as well. 19 points, 8 of 12 shooting, and 9 boards. Anthony Davis and Beverly are listed as probable. LeBron is listed as questionable. Pacers coming off their third straight loss, 112-100 at Memphis on Sunday. 5th straight game with at least 21. But as I said, they've lost 10 of 11, and Halliburton is going to help. But is he going to help here, LJ? Is he going to help here? Take it away for us. OG Wham says Halliburton is an all-star. Halliburton's been absolutely spectacular this year. But is he going to help in the first game back? I'd love to hear what you have to say about that as well, Wham Bam. Take it away, LJ. Our first game on the board, Lakers, Pacers.
Yeah, well, let's see if he helps. These two teams, this is a revenge spot for the Lakers. They lost to Indiana at home by 1 on a buzzer beater, and they rallied from a 17-point deficit in the fourth quarter to win that game over the Lakers, man. And but the Lakers, they are 5-0 ATS in their last 5 games in the first quarter with LeBron, and we all know the record with Indiana, 5-21 ATS in their first quarter at home, 2-10 straight up in the last 12. So that's where Indiana is vulnerable. They've been vulnerable like that all season. The Lakers are playing well in that spot in the first quarter. Anthony Davis, in that game versus Indiana, he had 25 and 13. LeBron had a horrible game that game versus Indiana. He only shot 30% from the field. He only had 21 points. And the Lakers got out-rebounded in that game, +6 on the offensive boards. But far as Hachimura, I like that addition that he's brought to the Lakers. He gives them extra scoring that LeBron can depend on in certain situations, and then they can focus on Westbrook to come off the bench and give them productive minutes along with the second team. So kudos for that trade. It may not catapult them to make a huge run, but it'll keep them consistent enough to stay in games with that extra scoring and size that Hachimura has. He's averaged 13 since he's been to the Lakers, so extra scoring is good for LeBron. But far as the game, Indiana is very vulnerable in the paint. They allowed 60 points in the paint their last 3 games. The Lakers are number 2 in the NBA in points in the paint, averaging 56. So I think that's where they're going to attack Indiana tonight. Indiana's lost 10 out of his last 11 games, allowing 124 points. They are 11-6 ATS as a home dog. The Lakers are 2-0 as a road favorite. So I can't get to a side far as the full game, Jimmy, but I'm going to jump on this first quarter. Lakers minus the half. Like I said, they're 5-1 in their last 6 with LeBron on the road. Those 2 games that they lost, he didn't play Denver and the Nets, I believe. But since he played, they're 5-1. They could have won that Boston. They could have been 6-0, on the road. But hey, let's jump on the first quarter. And as far as LeBron, Jimmy, I don't know if you know this. He needs 89 points to catch Kareem. And I believe he's setting it up because he has to average right around 30, to get there the next 3 games. He's going to take off Oklahoma City. I'm almost guaranteed he's going to take off that game, and that's going to set up for him to come home versus Milwaukee, Kareem in the crowd versus his old team. That's the storyline that we're going to have for LeBron to pass this streak. He's averaging 34, 9, and 8 this in January. And I don't know if you knew this, but that was his highest career average in a month for his career. Wow. That's amazing to me. But all that said, first quarter minus the half, Lakers take care of business.
Yeah, I get it. Can we say that the reason why the market isn't moving towards the Lakers right now is just because Halliburton is back?
Probably, yeah. He brings an extra boost to the team as far as, points, assisting the ball. So it's going to be more scoring and more opportunities because he's facilitating. So, yeah, that number may be going. That's why I'm going to stay away from the full game because it's only a minus a half. A bucket could win this game, So I'm just going to jump on the first quarter where Indiana's vulnerable. The Lakers are playing well in the first quarter, the last 5 games. So
you have some options here. You have the money line first quarter at -110 or the -0.5 at +102.
I'll do the half.
LJ is on Lakers -0.5.
Jimmy, what do we do on this show? We gamble.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And Nutbush Allen has presented a good idea, and I already won in on it.
All right.
A little side pot.
Okay.
Closest weight to this baby, $20 in the pot. Everyone throw in $20. We guess this baby's weight.
Where do we send now? If we're doing something, we have to do it legitimately. We can't just talk about money being thrown around because that causes people to get stabbed. What would you like to do then? Where is the money sent, and how is this done legitimately?
Oh, if we're gonna do this legitimately, Rez has to tell us the baby's weight eventually. I don't know when that baby's due. Hopefully soon. I'll hold the money because I'm a responsible young adult. $20, send it to me. If we're real about this, and send your guesses in the chat. And you have to also send me your YouTube name on the Cash App or whatever you want to send it to me. Preferably Cash App. It's my name, @Jose Bouquet.
Okay, so Jose is in control of this here and will give us updates as to how many people are in. I will need to know that there is a legitimacy to this and that lots of people have sent you cash before I'm going to spend another second talking about it. Although I'm very excited about our friend Rez having
Hey, we gamble here. You know, it's a little side pot action. Hey, who knows? This baby's weight, I've got my guess in hand already. I already Googled average baby weights to get it because I didn't know, but I Googled it.
Okay. Well, keep me in the loop as to how many people have sent you the cash, and then I will be involved once we hit double digits.
LJ, I know you're interested. LJ.
Yeah, I'm with it.
All right. Well, let's get back here. So, generally speaking, when you have a basketball team like the Lakers, a popular team, and they have 63% of the tickets and 79% of the cash on them, you want the market to be moving towards the Lakers. That's not happening.
Mm-hmm.
Also, in a situation where a team's getting their star player back, you want to fade the team that's getting their star player back.
Mm-hmm.
Is the fact that the star player is back the reason why the market isn't moving quicker towards the Lakers? Why are you not betting the Lakers full game?
I don't trust them, and it's too low of a number. You know, I'd rather just get them where they're good at, and that's the first quarter. Because if we trust these full games, anything can happen. Because Indiana is a good second half team when they're down. So let's just say the Lakers are up in the first half. Indiana's going to come back and probably cover that spread in the second half and probably win the game. Because at the end of the day, the Lakers do have trouble in possession games. I think they have this streak of one possession games that they lost. So they tend to lose games at the end, even if they had a lead. They barely held on versus the Knicks the last game. So Indiana's a feisty team, especially at home, but they start off slow. The Lakers start off fast in their last couple of games. So let's just try to catch them early because anything can happen in the second half, and they could lose the game. So I just trust the first quarter.
Rand says the market is frozen due to LeBron says the market's not frozen. The market's moving towards the Pacers. There had been first off, the market moved towards the Lakers this morning, but then there's been a big move back to the Pacers. And since the opening line, there's been a 6 cent move, 6 cents, but there had been 11-cent move as of 9:41 a.m. So, okay, I agree that the Lakers make sense here to play another good basketball game and build momentum and build excitement, and you want to fade Halliburton's return.
Yeah. And they've been playing good on the road, so.
Yeah, no, I find it all appealing. Yes, Rez, I got you. You just called me my guy. So yeah, I got your number, man. Look, we're ready. We're ready to bet on the way to Peyton. Sweet Peyton. Okay, so LJ's on the Lakers first quarter -0.5. I'm already on the under 240, and I have interest in the Lakers. The one thing that does make me uncomfortable is I'm already on a public spot with the Miami Heat. North Ender says no reason to think LBJ is not playing here. No, I don't think there's any reason to think that he is not playing.
He's going to play. He's going for 30. He has to get 30 to break that record. So he's going to play.
Billy Friedrich says that he would lean towards LeBron not playing. Dan, we're in business. Dan, the show is on. Oh, maybe he's just messing with us. Okay. Lakers, Pacers here. I'd like to move on to Lakers. Let's move on to game 2 here. And again, I want to talk out the Heat just because I don't want to sit here with the two most public spots on the entire board. 7:30 p.m. Eastern, Memphis Grizzlies 32-19, 11-15 on the road at the Cleveland Cavaliers, 31-22, 21-6 at home. We're at Rocket Mortgage Fieldhouse in Cleveland, Ohio. Memphis 1-4 over their past 5, playing at the pace of 101 possessions a game. Cleveland 2-3, playing at the pace at 93.80 possessions a game. The Cavaliers and the Miami Heat will keep getting you paid if you keep betting their unders. They faced each other last game, and it was a very easy casher. Here, I bet the under again because Cleveland is involved in Memphis on the second half of a back-to-back with issues about playing time. This opened up with Cleveland -6 at -105. They're now -6 at -100. I think that's a pretty solid, fair line. Pinnacle opened up this at 223.5 -106, and it hasn't moved. 223.5 -104. Bet365 still has that 223.5, but Bet365 opened this up at 4:11 a.m. at 225. At 225. Let's take a look at the cash here for this one. Grizzlies, Cavaliers, 4,483 tickets in. 68% of the tickets and 92% of the cash are on the Cleveland Cavaliers. That's a lot. Then you have 73% of the tickets and 82% of the cash on the over, which is strange, especially when you see how slow the Cavs are playing in 93.80 possessions a game. Memphis on the second half of back-to-back after losing their 6 of 7 in the 122-112 home loss to the Blazers last night. Ja goes for 32, 12, and 9. And Ja had a lot of trouble with Dame, man. Dame goes for 42 and controls the game. Nurkic gets hurt 2 minutes in. A lot of people would have thought, wow, here's Memphis's chance now because they don't have Steven Adams. But that was not the case. Dame took over. Danny Green made his season debut, 3 points in 10 minutes. And Desmond Bane was back after missing 2 games with right knee soreness. He scored 17. Adams out for the next 3 to 5 weeks. So we're going to see more Xavier Tillman. I knew that we were going to see lots of Brandon Clark, but Xavier Tillman is looking to get a lot of that playing time. Nutflush says, I believe Memphis has adjusted to Adams being out. Yeah, I think that's fair to say. Saturated says Memphis is being inconsistent first quarter. I think the Cavs can snipe them here. Billy Friedrich's on the first half and the full game under. I love hearing that. Cavs coming off their second loss in 3 games, 197 at home versus Miami on Tuesday night. Cavs are just 11 of 40 from 3. Evan Mobley goes for 19. He's been playing very good. Last 8 games, 19.6 points. 9.4 boards. Donovan Mitchell, 16. Jared Allen, 14 and 11. This is a Cavaliers team with very high hopes that went 8-8 in January. The Cavaliers allowing 106.8 points per game. We talked about that when they played Miami. That's the low in the entire league. And they lost 115-114 in Memphis on January 18th. And that was a spot when Adams tipped in the game winner with 16 seconds left. Take it away for us here, LJ. Grizzlies, Cavaliers.
Another revenge game for the Cavs. They lost by 1 early last month on a Steven Adams tip-in with 16 seconds left. They won that game, 115-114. So I'm expecting the Cavs to have this game circled. They're going to want to get back to Memphis for that horrible output that they had in the first game. Far as Memphis, though, Jimmy, they have a losing record versus the West, but versus the East, Memphis is 17-3, 6-0 versus this division, the Central Division, 6-2 on the road versus the East. So they play well in these spots, but they are on a back-to-back. So they may have, some regression in this game. I think Cleveland, you mentioned, is an under team. They play defense. Donovan Mitchell did not play in that last game versus Memphis. He had a strained groin, so he's going to be ready to go. So that's going to be an extra boost that Cleveland have for their arsenal tonight versus Memphis. But we already know, far as Memphis, first half, 30-19-1 ATS in the first half, 25-9 straight up in their last 34 games in the first half, 11-4 in their last 15. So they're very, very good in the first quarter, first half of these games. They're number one in points in the paint, too, averaging right around 60-59. They had 62 last night. So that's how they score in the paint. But far as the Cavs, they're number 3 in allowing points in the paint. They only averaged 48 points allowed in their last 3 games. So I think that the Cavs are going to keep Memphis out of the paint, make them shoot jump shots, and they're going to have to beat them that way. Plus, the fact that Flush Allen just mentioned, Steven Adams is out of the lineup. So now Memphis can run, fast pace. The lane isn't clogged with Adams, but I am going to stay away from a side in this game, Jimmy. But I do like your under. I'm leaning towards that. But the fact that Memphis is 0-6 as a road dog, the Cavs are 20-6 as a home favorite, -6, it's just a little bit too much for me. So I was looking at the first half under because Memphis is averaging 53 points in the first half their last 3 games. The Cavs are averaging 56 points in the first half in their last 3 games, which puts you at a 109 first half on the total. And I do believe that it's right there on the book. It's sharp, 109.5. So I had to stay off of that one, but I found a sneaky play, Jimmy. Memphis is number 1 in the NBA in third quarter scoring at 31 points. Cleveland is last, 26 points in the third quarter. So I am going to take a shot on the third quarter, Jimmy. Memphis +1.5 third quarter to come out of the second half. I don't know if they're going to be down or if they're going to be up, but I am going to take them where they're good at. Third quarter, coming out, scoring 30 points or more. And the fact that Cleveland comes out slow in the second half, averaging 26, let's take Memphis third quarter because I think it's going to be a Nick Tuck game. I don't think the Cavs can beat them by 6, but I think Memphis can cover the 6, but they could lose by 6. So I'm just going to stay off, and just focus on where I can get some money because this is what it's about, Jimmy. We're trying to get some money, so let's see where we can get the money spot. Third quarter, Memphis +1.5.
The only reason why I want to bet the Cavaliers here, and it's already moved, it's moved 1.5 at some books, so at least the market's moving, is because Desmond Bane will likely be announced out. Right? I mean, why would you play Desmond Bane in a back-to-back after he missed 2 games with his right knee soreness? So then at that point, it moves another point or a point half. So you're going to be able to beat the line, but it does make me a little nervous. This whole thing makes me nervous. I feel like it's some of these spots just seem pretty easy, and we know that the NBA just doesn't work like that.
No, it don't.
So I guess the Cavs are the spot full game, and you need to get 6 or less. So we need to get 6 or less. I guess that's the spot. Markel says Jared Allen should absolutely eat tonight. All right. And then Dan Kelly says if you like Memphis third quarter, you should also take Cleveland fourth quarter. That's an interesting way of.
I can see that because I think they can win this game. They're 8-3 at home versus the West. So Cleveland can win this game, and like I said, this is a revenge spot for them. They want to get back at Memphis. So I believe that they're going to be ready to play this game. I just can't, I can't trust the side because I just can't do it. A lot of funny things happen in this NBA, and we think that we're on a good side, and the opposite happens. But I do like your under. So when the show ends, I may add that to my card. But let's just lean for right now.
We do have a question from Matty Ice about the new head coach, D'Amico Ryans for Texans, but we will ask you that as soon as we finish this NBA card. So have that in the holster ready to go. LJ's on the Memphis Grizzlies third quarter +1.5. It's available -105 at Heritage. I'm already on the under 223.5 -110, but I get it. I get why people want the Cavaliers here. if Memphis is the best third quarter team, do you want the Cavaliers first half? And my answer to that is, even though there's some revenge here, is no. I find that teams on the second half of a back-to-back who are angry about what happened in the first half can come out really strong. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to stay off. Sammy Comer is not, though. He's not scared. He moved on Cavs first quarter. All right, so let's move on here. Next up for us, and look, I fell for it. I took the bait here in Heat, New York Knicks. I took the Heat -2 at -110. Mm-hmm. And I just, look, the sharp action right now is on the Knicks. 22% of the tickets and 40% of the cash. Let's take a look at what the line history is for this one. What I was doing here, and I just said, you know what? Let's not let the season numbers that are being put into these advanced models dictate my thoughts on this game, because I thought when the year started that the Heat were a good basketball team. They certainly weren't until 3 weeks ago, and now they look like the Heat that we remember. They opened up at -1.5 at Pinnacle. They get to -2. I moved on them at -2. It's -1.5 at Pinnacle, -113. At Bet365, where I moved on it, it is still -2 at -110. This total opened up. This is a tough one, and I would always be on this under. But Bet Online opened this up at 218, and this has come all the way down to 213, and then back up to 215.5, and got up to 217. So I was like, okay, if that's happening at Bet Online, is it going to happen at the other books? And it has now happened at Bet365. But I wanted to talk it out, because I could tell you that it opened up at 213 and it's gone up 2.5 points at Bet365. I could tell you the same thing at Pinnacle, that it's opened up at 213 and now it's up to 216. Or you say, no, this opened up at 218 and dropped down to 213 with people betting the unders, and it's moved up. The line history of the total is being so confusing that I thought, let's talk it out before I move on that. But I still fell for what could be the bait on the under. When we go to the cash flow here, which may help us, 7,184 tickets, as I said, 18% of the tickets on the under and 25% of the cash. So a lot of people betting this over, and I don't know why. Miami 4-1 over the past 5, playing at a pace at 97.1 possessions a game. Knicks are 2-3, playing at a pace at 95.23 possessions a game. Both teams playing slowly. Heat coming off their 4th win in 5 games, 197 at Cleveland on Tuesday night. Butler goes for 23. Bam 18 and 11. Caleb Martin continued his excellent play, 18 and 10. Cleveland shot 11 of 40 from 3-point range. Maybe that's part of the reason why we think there's a bounce back in them against Memphis. Knicks coming off their second straight loss, 129-123 in overtime at home to the Lakers on Tuesday night. They were 7 of 34 from 3, and their defense has completely fallen apart over the last 8 games. So, I talk about not wanting to use the season-long totals for the Heat. If you use the season-long totals for the Knicks, then you'll want the under here. But listen to this. In their last 8 games, the Knicks have allowed 121.8 points per game. Mm-hmm. That's ridiculously bad. In the 8 games before that, they'd allowed 103.6 points per game. Now, we do know that last game went to overtime. When they were allowing 103.6 points per game, they went 7-1. And Mitchell Robinson remains out. Maybe that's the reason why they're unable to defend at that level. They don't have Mitchell Robinson.
Yep.
So I have a ton of questions about the total, but I did possibly fall for the bait with the Heat -2. Take it away, my man, LJ. Floor is yours.
Yeah, I'm not mad at you taking the Heat. I think this is going to be a low-scoring game. I think it's going to be a defensive game. And I agree with you. Mitchell Robinson not being in that lineup is allowing these teams to score on these Knicks. He brings a defensive intensity to that game, and it's hard to get points in the paint with him, right? Blocking shots, getting defensive rebounds and things like that. And he gets extra possessions too, because he's a good offensive rebounder. So they're missing a lot, productivity, Mitchell Robinson being out that lineup. But far as this game, Jimmy, I'm going to approach it the same way I just did the last game. The Heat are 11-3-1 straight up to their last 15 in the second half. So that's where they're good at. That's where their strength is. But third quarter, they're only averaging 23 points. So even if they're up or if they're down, they come out slow in the third quarter. As far as the Knicks, We already know their first half ATS record, 36-16, 19-7 ATS in the first half at home. They have lost 6 out of their last 8 games, but they do have a good record versus this division, 5-3 versus the Southeast, while the Heat are only 4-7 on the road versus the East. So it's a lot of conflicting trends right here that kept me off of the side. But I'm going to stick to the philosophy I just did the last game. The Knicks are averaging 31 points in the third quarter in their last 3 games. They're 4-1 in their last 5 straight up in the third quarter, while the Heat, I just mentioned, averaging 33 points in the third quarter. They're only 1-3, I believe, in their last 4 on the road in the third quarter. So I'd rather catch them vulnerable right there, because the Knicks, like I said, -2 is just too low of a number, and the Heat have been playing well. So they could come out, have a defensive mindset in this game, and win this game. The Knicks are coming off that tough loss versus the Lakers, so that still could be looming in their mind as well. So let's just jump on the Knicks. Third quarter plus the half, -115 is what I got. You might can beat it, but that's the number I got right now, because I just rather catch them coming out the third quarter the way that they do, averaging 31 points, and they're good, 4-1 in the last 5 in the third quarter. So I'm going to stay off the side. I do think the Knicks can bounce back, but I can't trust it because they're missing one of their key players. And Brunson had a monster game versus the Lakers, so I don't know if he's going to have that extra energy tonight to play against a defensive team like Miami. And Bam, for us being on the board, he can have a good game. Randall does a lot. He has to score and rebound for that team, so that takes a lot out of them. But the Knicks do play good at home, so I'm trusting that the game is going to be close, but I'd rather get my money where I know the Knicks are good at, third quarter plus the half.
You got it. I can take 5 cents off of that. So I can get you that third quarter plus a half at -110. I'm on the Heat -2 at -110. And I guess I don't think I can. I understand with especially a vividness bias and a recency bias why anybody would want the under, and I wanted it too. So initial bets all go on the under, and then all these bets on the over. And I guess the only thing now after talking this all out is if it's the Knicks defense that's the problem, then maybe this total is pretty low, and maybe the Heat team total over at 107.5 would be the look. The problem is that's -130 at my book.
Yeah, too juiced.
Too juiced, but I'm going to keep an eye on it. Seeing what happens with this total. So that is Heat Knicks. Let's roll into the next spot on the board. One of just 2 games that I don't have action on in NBA. Charlotte Hornets 15-37, 8-21 on the road at the Chicago Bulls, 23-27, 13-11 at home at the United Center in Chicago, Illinois. Both teams 2-3 over their past 5. Charlotte playing at a very fast pace, 105.20 possessions a game. Chicago 2-3, 100.80 possessions a game. Let's go into the line history for this one. This opens up with the Bulls at -7. That's down to 5.5. From a total standpoint, it opened up at 236. It got up as high as 238. It's now sitting at 236.5. Mo Harris says the Hornets own the Bulls. Saturated says Vooch eats here, smells an over. Let's take out a look at this line history. The cash flow, excuse me. We have slight line value here on the Hornets, 8,407 tickets in. But the sharp, bigger bets are coming in on the Bulls. The market's moving towards the Hornets. So a lot of confusion sidewise. 40% of the tickets, 67% of cash on the Bulls. Then you have 29% of the tickets on the over, but 60% of the cash. It's rare to see real public unders. And we see real public unders where on... This is the only game that has over 50% of the tickets on the under. The only one. And that's something we see kind of often here. Public doesn't like betting unders. Alfred 44 says Bulls revenge spot. Let's discuss the situation here. Charlotte had their 2-game winning streak snapped in a 124-115 loss at Milwaukee on Tuesday night. They played well. LaMelo Ball set the franchise record for career triple-doubles already. 8th triple-double, went 27-10-11. Bulls have now lost 3 of their last 4 after their 108-103 loss at home to the Clippers on Tuesday night. They turned the ball over 20 times. Vooch led the team in scoring with 23 points. He has double-digit rebounds in 13 of the Bulls' last 15 games, averaging 13.1 rebounds on the month. And, of course, like Alfred alluded to, the Hornets beat the Bulls 111-96 just almost a week ago on January 26th. Scary Terry went for 28. Chicago in that game went 4 of 25 from 3. Take it away for us here, LJ. Hornets, Bulls.
Yeah, another revenge spot again, Jimmy. Bulls lost to the Hornets last game. I think that was like maybe last week or so. It's been recent. Mm-hmm. And I'm thinking the Bulls are definitely going to want to get back at one of the worst teams in the league. I think they slipped up that game. Some interesting scenarios happened as far as the possessions that allowed the Hornets to win that game. But we're back home in Chicago. I don't know if you know this, Jimmy. Chicago, 11-2 ATS in their last 13 games in the first half. Wow. Let me say that again. 11-2 ATS in their last 13 games in the first half. Now, what are the Hornets? 2-15-1 straight up in their last 18 games in the first half. They're 16-36 ATS first half on the season, which is dead last in the NBA. So there's no need to spend a lot of time on this game, Jimmy. The Bulls, they're 7-4 versus this division, 10-6 at home versus the East. They're averaging 57 points in the first half, their last 3 games. They're averaging 59 points in the last 6 games in the first half. While the Hornets are averaging, allowing 62 points in their last 8 games in the first half. And they have a horrible record versus the East, 4-14 on the road. And like I just mentioned, a horrible record in the first half. I am going to definitely step on, I've already bet, Bulls -3 first half. And it's a Darryl special here. I don't care what the spread is. Bulls first half -3.
So my only issue here with your spot, because it all makes sense, but do you trust the numbers from the Charlotte Hornets when they're playing without LaMelo and they're playing without Hayward? I mean, does that not concern you that now this is a different basketball team?
No, because the Bulls are a better team, and Charlotte's already beat them recently. This is recently biased right here because I know the Bulls know that this team just beat them, and the Hornets are one of the worst team in the league, probably the worst team in the East besides the Pacers. So the Bulls know this. They're on a good streak right now, especially early. That's why I'm not taking full game. I'm just taking the first half. The Bulls are hot right now in the first half, and I'm going to stay on this fire. So I just believe that they're going to come out strong. They know what happened last game. LaMelo has been playing well, like I said. He's the number one factor on that Charlotte team. You know, his PRA's been hitting. His three-point prop has been hitting. So I'm not mad at anybody that's going to be on LaMelo. But I think the Bulls are going to come out, play some defense tonight. They're going to keep Charlotte probably under 110, maybe 105 points, if that's saying a lot. But I do believe that they will be ready for this game. I believe they will win the game. But I'm just going to get my money in the first half where the Bulls are red hot right now.
All right. Well, let's lock this all in for you. There is -3 at -115.
Yeah.
But I'd like to see if I can get that a little less here. So I'm just going to do a quick check over at Pinnacle for you. The Bulls first half -3, -112. There we go. There's a little cheaper. So
okay.
Bulls first half -3, -112. This game makes me really nervous. It makes me really nervous. Because I don't really know who the Hornets are, and I was impressed by what I saw at times at Milwaukee. Leonard Porsche, Mally Mal, great to see you guys. Mo Harris on the Hornets +6, and Stimmy OG also on the Hornets +6. 5% of totals gone over in 14 in Chicago's last 21 games when playing Charlotte. Sammy Comer talking about how the Hornets are being competitive, and Slow Jams Arsenal says Bulls pissed that game away against the Clippers, and he has seen enough. He is on Charlotte. All right, let's move on. That game is just a very uncomfortable with the spot and going to cheer you on. But 41% of the tickets, 67% of the cash is on the Bulls, but the market's moving away from them. That's what throws me for the loop. All right, let's. Markel says, "Where's the defense on both sides?" That is I feel like a legitimate. Let's just go over this total one more time here. This total opened up at 236. At Pinnacle, it's now at 236.5. What did BetOnline do with it? BetOnline has no fear about being the first book to the market. And you can get, if you need a new account, open it up at BetOnline and use Pub Sports as your code, and they will match you up to $1,000, 100%. They opened this up at 239. This has dropped down to 237, but it got as low as 236. And, Charlotte playing with a lot of pace here. Joe Yurkovich on the Bulls, Cavs parlay at plus 100. And Joe's running real nice of late in NBA. I guess when it comes down to this total, I have some interest in the over. 31% of tickets, 60% of cash on the over. Funny that the public would be so set in their ways about this one going under. Maybe it's just because of what they saw in that Bulls-Clippers game. Well, if you had a free $500 bet on the total right now at 236, LJ, you go under or over?
If I had a free bet,
yeah,
I would take the under. I would take the under because I believe the Bulls are going to try to, keep the Hornets under their total tonight. I think they're going to slow down the possessions because they know how fast they play. And like I mentioned, everybody's talking about the last game versus the Clippers. I get that. But the Bulls are vulnerable versus the West. They don't have a good record versus that conference. But for as the East versus this division versus this team, they're going to want to get some revenge because they shouldn't have lost that last game versus the Hornets. And I believe that the Bulls have this game. They had it on their radar, and they're going to perform tonight. Especially in the first half, I believe. I'm just saying first half. Like full game, anything can happen. I believe, like you said, if they had a free bet, I would take the under, and I will also take the Bulls to win the game. But first half is where I trust the Bulls.
All right, I'm going to need more time. I was going to just stay off of it, but I have some interest in the over. By the way, Fat Cat Ninja is in for the weight of Rez Mob's granddaughter. She's going to be born here any second. So, Jose, let us know how many we got in. So we have at least Fat Cat Ninja. It's $20. Send it to Jose to get in the pool. And Jimmy Gomez says, I need height and weight of mom and dad. Well, the height of the grandfather. You have inside information, Jimmy Gomez. So maybe, I don't know if Fat Cat Ninja has inside information like you do. You've hung out with the grandfather. All right, let's move on here. And by the way, Dan Kelly says if you bet props, he'd take Hayward's points and rebounds in this one. Markel taking a stab with the Bulls first quarter and over 60.5. Jimmy Gomez in the house. Love to have you, buddy. Okay, let's move on. New Orleans Pelicans 26-26, 9-17 on the road. All of a sudden, Pelicans look like a weak basketball team. It's interesting how things change so quickly, but injuries obviously heavily involved. Yeah. At the Dallas Mavericks, 27-25, 18-9 at home. We're at American Airlines Center in Dallas, Texas. The Pelicans coming off their 9th straight loss, 122-113 at Denver on Tuesday night. Over their past 5, playing at a pace of 99 possessions a game, and Dallas playing at a crawl right now. 93.80 possessions a game over their past 5. And I moved on the under 224.5 in this one. Let's discuss it and take a look. Here we go. Dallas opening up at -4. They're now -4.5. This total opened up at 225.5. It's now 223. What's it up at 365? It's 223 there too. That's good. That's good because I only got in at maybe, 7:30 in the morning. That's good. Okay, beat that by 1.5. Sammy Cullimer says Pelicans plus 4.5 is a 2-unit play for him. Joe Yerger says it feels like the Pelicans are way worse than a 500 team. Let's take a look at the cash flow here. We have 5,451 tickets in, and it doesn't really help you on the side. 55% of the tickets, 52% of the cash on the Pelicans, but 45% of the tickets, 69% of the cash on the under, and we've seen it drop 1.5 from when I bet it. So that all feels good for me. Pelicans coming off their 9th straight loss, 122-113 at Denver. BI 16, 5 of 17, did deliver 9 assists. He's been very, very good playmaker, for a couple of years now. Zion remains out with a hamstring injury. Dallas comes in off their second win in 3 games, 111-105 at home versus the Pistons on Monday. Everybody not wearing Doncic on the back of their jersey looked bad. Luka went for 53. This is a team that has lost 8 of 12. Christian Wood, week to week with a thumb injury out of the lineup, and Maxi Kleber out indefinitely with a hamstring injury. Take it away, LJ. Floor is yours. Pelicanos, Mavericks.
I have a question. Are we sure that this game is going to be played, considering the snow that's going on in Dallas?
Yeah, I mean, it's all about travel. Can the teams get in?
Okay.
So as far as I know, somebody, maybe Jose would have a better idea.
Okay.
Maybe Jose can look that up right now.
Okay, because I really didn't dive into it too much. I didn't want to, try to waste time, in this game be postponed. But I could freestyle it, to be honest with you. The Dallas, man, they're a horrible first half ATS team. They're 19-30-3 ATS in the first half. Now, the Pelicans, they have a pretty decent first half record. They're 31-21 in the first half. And I think they won that first half last game versus Denver, I do believe. I'm not sure, but I do believe that they won that first half the last game. Let me check to make sure if they won that first half the last. Yeah, they did, 60-57. So, yeah, they won that first half. So they played well in the first half considering the injuries that they have. And both of these teams are good in this division. Dallas is 6-2 versus the division. The Pelicans are 7-4 versus the division. But the Pelicans are only 4-9 on the road versus the West. And Dallas is a monster at home versus the West. 12-4. That's where they're good at. And as far as Luka, he performs well at home. And I usually take his PRA anytime he's playing a home game just on GP because he loves to perform for the home crowd. But the Pelicans, they do have BI back. And I think that's going to help with the offensive production of the team. And as far as the rest of the team, I just feel like they understand where their record is right now. They were what was their record? 3-13 in the month of January. So they're slipping pretty bad. But Dallas isn't, they're 6-9 in January. So it's not like they have both of these teams are under 500 coming into this game. So I really can't take a side in this game. This game could go either way. So I'm just going to stay off because, like I said, I really didn't cap the game because I didn't know for sure if they're going to play it. But if I had to make a free bet, I would take Dallas minus the 4.5, considering how awful they are in the first half. I believe that they come out in the second half and perform better. And if they're down, because I think New Orleans possibly could be up in the first half, considering their first half record, I should jump on that first half. What is that first half, Pelicans? Plus 2.5?
Yeah.
You know what, Jimmy?
Yeah.
I'm going to take it. Let's take the Pelicans plus 2.5 because Dallas performs horrible in the first half. ATSN. I'm just going to stick to the number because I believe that they'll come out in the second half to perform better. And if they're down, I think the motivation will be there to try to get back in the game. Plus, like I said, this is a Western Conference game. This is a division game. So it's going to be intense. Both these teams are going to want to win this game. But I'm going to take the Pelicans. I think they've been playing defense a little bit better. I saw Herb Jones the other night. He had like 3 or 4 steals. So they played well. They just, couldn't close the game, because they allowed 65 points in the second half, the last game versus Denver. But let's take the first half plus the 2.5. I think they can stand the game and keep it close in the first half.
Pelicans first half plus 2.5 available at minus 106. I'm not joining you here, Mr. Always Profit. This game makes me nervous. I like the under quite a bit. I did copy and paste DC Capper's action. Nice job, Cashman 19 with the trifecta alongside our nasty Nate. Astute Chaos says Dallas home first half efficiency, offensively 118.4, defensively 117.1 the last 5 games. Res Mob, I am going to be on camera hosting the video portion of our par 3 tournament. So I won't be playing. I will be drinking heavily and reporting what I see going on around me. That is and for me, heavy drinking and heavy reporting here. Brian Watson in the house. Joe Yurkovich says Dallas is a -3 to -7 favorite, 3-14 against the spread. What up, Jalen? Great to see you. Okay, so Pelicans first half plus 2.5 minus 106 for Durrell. Dan Kelly saying Pel's playing their 6th game in 10 days. Be careful. Be careful.
Be careful.
I'm on the under 224.5 at minus 110, and we'll cheer on. Oh, sorry, wrote that wrong. So we'll cheer on LJ's Pelicans plus or first half plus 2.5. Okay, let's move on. Next up for us, 9 p.m. Eastern, Golden State Warriors 26-24, 7-18 on the road. At Denver Nuggets 35-16, 23-4 at home. We're at Ball Arena in Denver, Colorado. Warriors are 3-2, playing at a pace of 104.23 possessions a game. Denver playing very slowly, 2-3, 96.90 possessions a game. Let's take a look at the line history here for this one. Warriors Nuggets. We have the Warriors opening up at Nuggets opening up -12. It got down to 11.5 for a while. It's back at -12. Total wise, it's opened up at 232.5, and now it's at 232. And we all know why. Second half of a back-to-back for the Warriors, having their 3-game winning streak snap last night, a 119-114 overtime loss in Minnesota. And Kerr just plays his starters heavy minutes, knowing that he's not going to play them again the next game. Klay Thompson listed as doubtful. I don't know if anything's changed with Wiggins and Curry, but they're listed as questionable. But we have second night back-to-back resting situations for these Warriors time in and time out. So Draymond played 39, Steph played 43, Wiggins played 35. And so that's the situation. Nuggets snapped their 2-game losing streak in a 122-113 win at home to the Pelicans on Tuesday night. Jokic went for 26, 18, and 15. 26, 18, and 15. The fifth player in NBA history to have a 26, 18, 15 triple-double. Oscar Robertson 3 times, Wilt 3 times, Larry Bird, and Russell Westbrook once. Aaron Gordon questionable with an ankle injury. He played 36 minutes in Tuesday's win. So if he's not there, you'll see a heavy helping of Jeff Green. Let's take a look at the cash flow for this one. 3,209 tickets in, 53% of the tickets, 75% of the cash on the Warriors, 57% of the tickets, 92% of cash on the over. Take it away for us here, my man, LJ. Warriors, Nuggets.
Yeah, this is going to be a doozy if Golden State play their players. We're not for sure if they're going to be in, but this is going to be a doozy because Golden State and Denver first quarter scoring are both top 5. You have Golden State first quarter number 1, 31 points in the first quarter, 35 in their last 3 in the first quarter. Mind you, with Denver, number 2 first quarter, 31 points. Last 3, 32 points. So these combined teams of points for these teams are 60-plus points in the first quarter. Now, let's get to the first half. Golden State, first half, averaging 60 points in the first half, 65 in their last 3. Denver, averaging 60 in the first half, 61 points in their last 3. So I believe that the first quarter and the first half could possibly go over. But we have to be cautious because we don't know if Steph, or you say Klay's already ruled out, or did you say he was questionable?
Yeah, doubtful.
Doubtful, so that means he probably won't play. So I don't know if Kerr is going to pull a Popovich and pull everybody at the last minute, but we just have to trust that at least Steph and Draymond plays in this game. So the fact that Steph is in this game, I'm going to trust that one of these are going to go over. But Denver, 16-2 at home, 26-9 versus the West at home. Not at home, just period. I'm sorry, 26-9 versus the West, period. Denver is 14-4 straight up in their last 18 first quarter versus the West, 12-4-1 straight up in their last 12 straight up in the first quarter. So Denver is going to come out in this game, and I think they're going to try to get the intensity started. They're at home. Golden State is on a back-to-back. They don't perform well usually on back-to-backs, and they are on the road. Now, that -11.5 is too much of a line for me to take. That's a official backwood, like Dutch would say. But I am going to take a shot on the first quarter, Jimmy, over 59.5, because I capped the game that the first quarter over is hitting right at 60 points, 62 points in the first quarter, 67 in the last 3. So I'm going to take the first quarter over, considering how Denver comes out in the first quarter and perform. Golden State comes out. They both can put up points. I don't know who's going to win the first quarter. So I'm just going to stick to the total. Over 59.5 first quarter, Warriors in Denver.
That's moved to 50 or to 60.5 at some sharp books.
Okay.
But we can get you the 59.5 at -115.
Okay. Yeah, let's do it. Over 59.5.
Over 59.5 -115. Leo said it has a $300 bet on Jokic triple double. And I have copied and pasted. Oh, we got more totals here from DC Capper. I'll copy and paste those. We got the information from Jose right away. And my bad for not mentioning it about the issues with the weather. Dallas says the Pelicans are at the airport in Denver and are scheduled to fly out soon for tonight's game against the Mavericks in Dallas. So they're going to get in late. The Pistons are scheduled to finally leave Dallas to fly home to Michigan this afternoon. Detroit practiced in Dallas on Wednesday.
Okay.
All right. That is the situation. D, don't worry. We will review everything. We have a big college basketball card popping off. Okay. Let's move on to the final spot. There's our guy, Razor Sharp Picks. I'm going to mute you at times. We're getting a little bit of feedback. LJ, I'll see if it works. And Dan Kelly saying, LJ, take the bet off, hearing that they haven't even left yet. Does that make you
Yeah,
want to?
you know what? I was thinking that. I think I'm going to take it off. The Pelicans?
Yes.
Yeah, take it off for me. Because they can't even practice. They don't have a walkthrough. They're not going to have a shoot-around. So, yeah, I'll take it off. Let's take it off.
You know, I love Rocco Rogers talking about that big UAB game. I can't wait to talk about it too. But here, we take the Pelicans 6 games in 10 days. They haven't left the airport yet. Do we flip getting that information and take the Mavericks early? Or take the Mavericks early and often?
I don't know, Jimmy. We have to think about it. Like they could win that first quarter, but they're so horrible ATS in the first half. So if anything, we gotta trust the Mavs first quarter. That's where we could trust them. But I would have to think about it. I may do it later, but not right now.
Okay, well, we're gonna have to. I think this show is all about getting as much information as possible, and when we have that information, act on it. And I feel like maybe this is a spot where we need to act on it. Razor Sharp Picks horseplay of the day: Delta Downs race 5, the number 2 Lil Miss Sunshine 10-1, and of course Razor will be live for me all day and night Saturday, and I can't wait. So that's our big horse racing show on Saturday. I'm going to get Razor's play of the day here. And we have one more game before we dive in to college basketball with CMAC. Thank you for sharing that with us, Razor, and I can't wait to spend the day boozing heavily with you, watching horses. Let's talk about the last game on the board, and I've got unders, nonstop unders and unders. Well, it stopped here. I'm on the over in Clippers, Milwaukee Bucks. Let's take a look at the line history here for this one. I'm going to mute you for a sec there, and we'll get you back in when we're done. Here we go. The Bucks open up -4.5. They're now -4. From a totals perspective, opened up at 230, now 231. What did I get? I believe I got the 230.5. Let me just find out exactly what it was. I got the over 231.5. Over 231.5. It's now juiced to the under at 231 at Pinnacle. At Bet365, it's dropped a point. Damn, 230.5. God, that hurts to see that. The Clippers have been given full line value here on Sports Insight. 6,802 tickets in, 36% of the tickets, 91% of the cash on the LA Clippers, the now healthy LA Clippers. 34% of the tickets on the under and 67% of cash on the under. Sharp money on the under. Clippers 4-1 over their past 5, playing at the pace at 97 possessions a game. Milwaukee playing at the fastest pace I've ever recorded over their last 5 games. I've never recorded a 110 before. This is 109.50. I don't believe I've ever recorded a 108 before. Mally Mal says Bucks 5-0 last 5 first quarters. I often find that they step up in situations where they want to send an example. I love it, DC Capper. We can't wait to have you rolling with us here. Dan Kelly says, I've seen it happen where a tired team comes straight from the airport and can't miss a shot. Says, I will look to fade the Pelicans if they're winning at halftime. That's from Dan Kelly. Of course, when Dan Kelly talks, we listen. And why? Because of the years and the database that he has acquired over his time capping NBA. So when Dan talks, we listen. Clippers come in off their 6th win in 7 games, 108-103 at the Bulls on Tuesday. Kawhi goes for 33, Storm and Norman 27. It's amazing how much better Storm and Norman looks than Gary Trent right now. And a year and a half ago, we were laughing, saying, oh, Masai did it again. And now I don't want to watch Gary Trent on a basketball floor anymore. Paul George went for 16, added 10 boards. Reggie Jackson, questionable with the Achilles injury. Covington, questionable for personal reasons. Marcus Morris, questionable with a rib injury. And John Wall out indefinitely with the abdomen injury. Milwaukee comes in off their 5th straight win, 124-115 at home over Charlotte on Tuesday. Giannis listed as probable with the knee injury, 34-18 from Giannis. Chris Middleton, 18. Drew, 15 and 13 boards. Bobby Portis sidelined. Ibaka has basically been designated for assignment. We just don't know what the assignment is, and we don't know if anybody wants the assignment. Take it away for us here, LJ. The floor is yours. Clippers, Bucks.
Yeah, Milwaukee has been playing some excellent ball as of late, Jimmy, and especially versus the West. They are 10-1 at home versus the West. 14-4 versus the West overall. And far as their ATS streak, the Bucks, they are 9-3-1 in the last 13 straight up in the first quarter with Giannis in that lineup. So they come out strong. They're averaging 70 points in the first half their last 3 games. So they've been putting up monster numbers in this first half. I mean, Giannis has been coming out and has been on a mission. First, like I said, versus the West, it's like they just turn up for some reason versus this conference. And as far as the Clippers coming into this game, they are 4-14, Jimmy, ATS in their last 18 games in the first half. So that 3-8 in their last 11 in ATS first half. So they're very vulnerable in the first half, but they come out in the second half and blitz you. 20-7 straight up in their last 27 in the second half. So the Clippers just, I don't know what they're doing in the first half. I guess they're filling out these teams to see how they're going to approach the game. And I love how Ty Lue adjusts. Like, I think the Lakers made a big mistake in not hiring him because he is an excellent second half adjust coach. So that's where the Clippers come out. When they're down in the first half, they come out and blast you in the second half. Sort of like how Oklahoma City does too. So those two teams are bet on teams in the second half. But far as the first half, I'm going to stick to what's working, Jimmy. I'm riding the Bucks. My money has been on the Bucks these last couple of games, especially first quarters, because they just been storming through people. And in the first half, they're averaging 70 the last 3 games. So they may win the game. Possibly could win the game, but I'm just going to catch the Clippers where they're vulnerable. Let's fade them in the first half. So Bucks minus the 2 first half is what I'm going to step on because I believe they're going to continue this hot streak. They are at home. Giannis is probable, but I do think he should play this game. Like, I don't see why he wouldn't play this game. So I'm going to trust that they continue their streak in the first quarter, first half. I'm going to stay off the first quarter because it could be close, but I'm going to trust that bench of the Bucks can come out and blitz that bench of the Clippers, considering how vulnerable they are. They have some key injuries that's out, so they don't have a lot of pieces to put in there. So Bucks should take care of business, especially in the first half, and I'm going to trust the -2 because I do believe that's pretty low, and they could cover that -2 first half.
Yeah, I think I might want to even take it earlier. I think I might just want one very quick quarter, personally, But I like the way they step up. Let's give you your first half in here. Move over here for your first half action. What did I ditch it? Okay, I'm gonna have to pull it up again. Apologies here. I don't know where it went. Here, let's grab and then we're gonna close on the question about D'Amico Ryan's hire here in a second. But let's grab this, and I'm just gonna put you on mute here for a quick second. Let's give you the first half here for the Milwaukee Bucks, and then we get into college basketball. So Milwaukee, Milwaukee first half is a minus. Pinnacle's moved it to 2.5. That's a good sign for people who want to back the Bucks. But -2, we can get you -2 at -110. And I'm with Sammy Comer on. I'd like to add the Bucks first quarter here. BJ says I'm waiting for the line to come down since all the money on the Clippers. I want the Bucks at the best number possible, so I'll wait. It makes sense here. BJ says the Bucks will rebound the Clippers easy. Again, we have a ton of sharp action on the LA Clippers, and they've been given full value under Sports Insight. So let's review all action in NBA, and then let's take a look at the question that was posed from our Matty Ice. First off, LJ's on the Lakers first quarter -0.5 at +102. I'm on the under 240 at -110, and I am interested in the Lakers full game. I'm just nervous to be backing some of these public spots, and I'm already on the Heat. I'm on the under 223.5 in Memphis, Cleveland. LJ's on Memphis third quarter +1.5 -105, and I'm interested in the Cavs at -6. But I'm already on the Heat -2 -110. LJ's on the Knicks third quarter +0.5. And if the Knicks defense has been so bad and there's no end in sight because there's no Mitchell Robinson coming back, then maybe it is the Heat team total over that I should move on. Then LJ's on the Bulls first half -3 at -112. And I do have interest in the over in that game. I am on the under 224.5. That's down to 223 in Pelicans Mavs. And I have interest in the Mavs. We have been told from Jose that the Pelicans haven't left. Where were they? They were. Why am I tripping out? Where they haven't left Denver yet. So they're still scheduled to fly out at this point. That's not a good sign. But then we've heard Dan say he's seen teams step off the airplane and score. So maybe that is a second half look. LJ's on the Nuggets first quarter over 59.5 in Golden State, Denver. And I'm on the over 231.5 in LA, Milwaukee. This line's gone against me. This is now at 230.5. LJ's on the Bucks first half -2, and I'm on the Bucks first quarter. But I haven't moved on it yet. I plan to add it. So let's get over to our guy, LJ. He says, real quick thoughts on your new head coach for your Texans. 6 years is a long contract for an unknown, in my opinion. Now, obviously, us 49er fans don't think he's fully an unknown. And Texans fans probably don't feel that way either. But let's hear what LJ has to say about D'Amico Ryans.
I like the hire. He played with this team. You know, he has history with them. And the players that played with him when they were with the Texans, they said that they saw a coaching in his future. You know, he's always been a leader of men, even as a player, you know, and his track record with the 49ers have been well, you know, had the defense playing very well, top in the league. So he should bring a coaching defensive discipline mentality to this team. But all that said, we're going to need the players. So they're going to have to draft well. I think they're going to have to get a couple of free agents. You know, it's going to be a long while before the Texans become a viable team in the NFL. But far as coaching hire, hey, he's a black coach. You know, kudos to that, because we already know how the NFL, that's an issue, hiring minority coaches. So that's a good fit. So I applaud them for that. And I believe it's going to work out well. I don't think that he'll get fired in a year like they've done the last two coaches. So I believe he will sustain a run. Far as playoffs and all this, let's just take some time. You know, we're gonna have to take baby steps. You know, we've digressed a while since trading Watson and Hopkins. We've digressed, and I don't see how we're gonna get back anytime soon unless a miracle happens. Somebody comes to our team that changes the whole mindset. But coaching, I like the D'Amico Ryans hire. I think he brings a different discipline mentality to this team, and I think these players will want to perform for him, because he's a player's coach. He used to play. He has a good track record. So I think the team will respond to him. It's just all about getting the players on the team to perform.
I love it. Absolutely great work, LJ, my man. And LJ be with us next Wednesday as well, and the Wednesday after that. And LJ was a late addition to the show. That's the only reason why we don't have his record up, but that will all be up in Adam. And he's at high volume and being very good this year. There's his Twitter handle. I just dropped it in the chat. Please follow our guy, LJ Sports Media, great friend of all of ours and a great capper and someone we're going to be hanging with wonderfully in San Antonio. Craig Wood says, hour and 45 minutes to Dallas from Denver. Biggest issue is getting to the arena from the airport, as Dallas will be likely be gridlocked with the ice storm.
Yep.
That's a good point, Craig. Good point. And Dan Kelly says, another thing about the Pelicans second half, used to be you get a real good number on that, but now they're so sharp that you will see in that number that everyone knows the Pels will collapse. And Dan says, bet it anyway. LJ, spectacular work. We're going to move on to college basketball, but thank you for joining with us, and I look forward to do it again in 6 days, my man.
Yes, I'm looking forward to. I had to take off work today because there was no work. It's a storm out here. It's raining. It's cold. So, hey, I hit my boy Jimmy the bag up. Hey, let's talk some ball, Jimmy. So thank you for letting me on. I enjoy the opportunity as always. Shout out to the chat. Best chat that we have. So let's catch.
I love it. There he is, LJ from H-Town. Real Deal Prime in the house as well. Our guy, Wild Hound 007, who will be with us for our horse racing stream. Wild Hound says, Spanish La Liga, Real Madrid versus Valencia. Madrid first half. Both teams to be carded. Karim Benzema to score anytime. Over 8 corners in the match. And Real Madrid over 5.5 shots on target. That is the parlay for Wild Hound. That comes out to a plus 700 parlay right there. Plus 700 parlay. Nunya says, anyone on these early NCAAB games? Well, we left Milwaukee alone, IUPUI, but we've got all the rest of them ready to attack and ready to cap. So let's get into college basketball right now. I'll discuss what happened yesterday. Disappointing. I thought the capping was strong. And, Mally Mal asking if LJ is on the Lakers. LJ is on the first quarter minus a half at plus 102 for the Lakers. Penn State was just bad. That was a mistake. They were only down 6 at the half. They get blown out by 20. Florida plus 5 was very easy and a thing of beauty. The Tennessee Florida over 131. I don't know why convoluted such an easy bet. Belmont lost by a point. Utah State dominated. So it was a 2-3 down 1.3 units. And you are what your record says you are. But in my head, I feel like the capping was on point. It was the actual betting that kind of held me back a bit. So I'm now 74-56, hitting at 56.9%. Plus 12.5 units, and my ROI's dipped under 10% for the first time in a while. Now plus 9.62%. Average line minus 110. And Ryan Mueller will be at the Pacers game. Nunya is on the over 127 and Central Connecticut money line. Let's move over there and let's get to work in college basketball. Our man C-Mac, Conor Mac Picks will be joining us here shortly. But let's get to work here. Gonna pop this here. Okay. And I had the opportunity to spend a little bit more time on college basketball as there was no NHL today or tomorrow, which I enjoyed very much. Let's get to work. We start at 2 p.m. Eastern. Central Connecticut Blue Devils 6-17, 4-5 in the NEC. At St. Francis, Brooklyn Terriers 11-11, 4-5 in the NEC. We're at the Pope Physical Education Center in Brooklyn, New York. Let's take a look at the line history here and then discuss the cash flow and then make a move on it. So here we go. By the way, IUPUI holding strong in that Milwaukee spot right now. But let's move over to the 2 p.m. start here. It's going to be at the bottom, right? At the bottom here because it's an extra game. There it is. And as expected, man, that line is one could easily expect. Now, we could talk about Pinnacle's openers, but I don't think it helps us enough because BetOnline just comes out earlier. BetOnline came out with this at 2:33 p.m. yesterday. Central Connecticut opened up at minus I had a pick 'em. They are now -2 at -115. So open up at a pick 'em. There's been a 2-point move towards Central Connecticut. From a total perspective, it opened up at 130.5 and has dropped to 127.5. Mike M says St. Francis of Brooklyn. The Terriers are in a 38-15-2 spot. He's riding the over and St. Francis, New York. That's from our guy Mike M here. Let's go into the cash flow for this one here. Move into the extra games, and there it is. So Central Connecticut has been given line value according to Sports Insights, going against the trend that Mike M is betting. 2,725 tickets in. That's a lot of tickets for a 2 p.m. NEC game when we're an hour and 34 minutes away from it. 57% of the tickets and 87% of the cash is on Central Connecticut. 65% of the tickets and 77% of the cash is on the over. Let's go back to that total. So that's dropped 3 points from BetOnline. Interesting. So it's dropped in the market moving towards Central Connecticut. Central Connecticut comes in off its second win in 3 games, 88-74 at home over St. Francis of Pennsylvania on Saturday as 1.5-point favorites. Remember when St. Francis of Pennsylvania Red Flash played the Terriers in Pennsylvania, we were all over St. Francis of Pennsylvania, and they won by 20, and they were like 1 or 2 point favorites in that one. But back to Central Connecticut, they shot 49.2% from the field and 36.4% from 3, and out rebounded the Red Flash 43-31. Here's another situation here. They got 20 points off the bench from sophomore Devontae Sweatman. This is a guy who had 20 points combined over his previous 7 games. 2 of his last 3 games, he had 0 points. When you get an extra 20 points off the bench, the opportunity for you to succeed skyrockets. And Central Connecticut is 2-10 on the road. St. Francis of Brooklyn comes in off their second straight win, 71-59 at home over lowly Long Island University, 7.5-point favorites on Saturday. They shot just 34.8% from the field, and they forced Long Island into 22 turnovers. St. Francis is 8-3 at home. Troy Torrance is on Central Connecticut money line. Well, I was planning on not believing in what Central Connecticut did last game. And I'm not going to do that. Even though I had an idea that the market would move towards Central Connecticut. In my head, I was like, if it doesn't move very much, I'll know St. Francis is the play. Noli Knows is on the under here in this one. And it's dropped 3 points from the BetOnline opener yesterday afternoon. And then you have Mike M on opposite sides. He's on with the Terriers, which I would have been, and he's on the over. I guess you put all of that together, and I don't have enough. Oh, and the Rez Mob's granddaughter is being born as we speak. This is very exciting, Rez. Very, very exciting. Rez capping as well. Fighting the good fight. Fighting the good fight. That reminds me of Lobagula. What is Lobagula, right? Reminds me of Lobagula. So with all this being said, I'm going to have to stay off of this game at 2 p.m. I really wanted to fade Central Connecticut in this spot, but I'm not going to go up. Remember, yesterday, there was what was the spot that I so badly wanted to bet, and I couldn't go up against the sharp money, and it saved me $150. I guess I should have gone on the other side, but that was in the sorry, let me just figure. That was in the St. Bonaventure Richmond game. I wanted to back Richmond, but the Sharps were on St. Bonaventure, and why go up against them? Lobagalin, thank you, Lee. Thank you. And Peyton is here. Going to get an official weight. Might take a minute, so we need to find out who is in here, who is in this contest, and we need to know what they have guessed here. Let's see if Jose is telling me. All right, so okay. We have not had. I thought we had somebody going up against you, Jose. Is that not the case? You can still get in, but congratulations, Rez Mob. You and your wife have started such a beautiful thing here with your family, and man, we are more because you're involved with us. So respect and congratulations on the addition to the family. J Dub guessing 7 pounds 11 ounces. What we could do is we could do some sort of a, some sort of a prize with everybody guessing. We could do something like that. That's not $20 in or not. Okay. Fat Cat Ninja says got refunded. Okay, got refunded, Fat Cat Ninja. Okay. We can still guess here in the chat and reward something if anybody nails it. So we could do that if you guys want. We'd be open to that. So Central Connecticut, St. Francis, Brooklyn Terriers is going to be a stay-off spot. It just doesn't all correlate, which is what I was hoping for. So we'll ask C-Mac about that. He's joining us shortly. But let's move on to 5 p.m. Eastern. Long Island University Sharks. We're going to stay here in the NEC, 13-9, 1-9 in conference. And that one happened just happened recently. A shock win on last Thursday, a week ago. They get their first conference win of the season at Sacred Heart as 12.5-point dogs. So we have the Sharks going up against the Merrimack Warriors, 7-16, but 5-4 in the NEC. We are at North Andover, Massachusetts for this one, game 2. And here he is joining us from Las Vegas, Nevada. Migda Mac Daddy for this big NCAA basketball card. Jose, will you take a second and move back to the Central Connecticut St. Francis graphic? So we can just see here, this game pops off at 2 p.m. We have broken it down. C-Mac, first off, great to see you. How are you? You're muted, my man.
Sorry.
There we go.
A little wild morning here. Sorry, a few minutes late. My bad.
No worries, buddy. You're in business. That's all that matters. How are you?
I'm good. You?
I'm good, my man. We have talked about the Central Connecticut St. Francis Brooklyn game. We have Noli on the under, Mike M on the over. The totals dropped 3 points. I wanted to fade Central Connecticut because they coming off shooting 49.2% from the field, 36.4 from 3. Out rebounding St. Francis, Pennsylvania, and getting 20 points from a sophomore who'd scored 20 points combined in 7 games. So I just thought that was a benefit that they weren't going to get, and I wanted to fade them. But the market's moving heavily in Central Connecticut's direction, and with all that being said, I'm off of it. Did you move on the 2 p.m. Northeastern Conference spot?
No, I didn't move on this game. I'm a little bit surprised, that it's moved to Central Connecticut because I really wouldn't want them. You mentioned out that last game on the 28th where they scored 88 against PA, I believe, right?
Yeah.
I don't see that happening again. We know I get the move to the under. That's initially where I looked in this spot. This team just hasn't been good. We're going to hit it on the next game coming up here, Jimmy. This team has not been good on the road. Why do you want to lay points with this team that's 2-10? And where Brooklyn's played better is at home if they played their best basketball. 8-3 here. I'm just a little bit shocked that this is 2.5, what it is. Because to me, I'd be on St. Francis. That's where I was looking at. Take the 2 or just roll with the money line. They got to shoot the ball well, though. This team isn't very good. These teams aren't very good. Let's just get, both are great. But they do, I think, have a little bit of the better defense. And they're at home. So to me, this is St. Francis or nothing in this one.
Yeah, and I've decided to go with nothing. I'm going to let the market move scare me off of it. All right, let's get back to the other spot, afternoon action in the NEC. Help us get through our work day here. And we set it up here. So let's go to the line history for this one. Long Island University Sharks at Merrimack Warriors. And we have Long Island opening up as 11.5-point dogs. They're now 12.5-point dogs. But that's a pinnacle. So let me move over to BetOnline here. BetOnline opened this at 13, now at 12.5. So BetOnline opened this up yesterday at 2:33 p.m. afternoon. Half-point move towards Merrimack. But that minus 12.5 from Merrimack's minus 130. So that's not really a 12.5. That's either that's an 11.5 or a 12. Totals wise, it's opened up at 129 and it's now at 130. Go over to the cash flow for this one. We have 1,477 tickets in, 37% of the tickets, 44% of the cash on Long Island. And 87% of the tickets, 89% of the cash on the over, and it's gone up a point. So after their surprise 74-70 victory at Sacred Heart last Thursday's 12.5-point dogs, Long Island couldn't keep up that momentum. They fell 71-59 at St. Francis at Brooklyn at 7.5-point dogs on Saturday, and they turned the ball over 22 times. It was a horrific display of basketball. They are shooting a little better, though. Merrimack's modest 2-game winning streak was snapped in a 78-71 loss at home to Fairleigh Dickinson as 2.5-point favorites. They turned the ball over 21 times in the loss. These are two bad basketball teams. Is there an angle here that you trust? C-Mac, take it away.
Yeah, Molly Mall. I didn't say Central Connecticut. I said St. Francis. Maybe you heard it wrong. I think they have the slightly better defense just through all the numbers. And that's what I got it. Maybe you heard that, or I said it wrong, but that's what I meant. This one is you telling me Merrimack, the better basketball team. Merrimack, great team to the under. I love this basketball team. I took them plenty of times this year. These two teams get together, though. They've gone over this number. Because I was just going to, when I look at that, I wanted to jump on it right away last night, but I'm not. I think this is too many points, and this is the ugliest of ugly dogs here with Long Island. This team is very bad, but Merrimack laying points like this to cover, this team, I don't think has won by more than 10 in a while. I was double checking. There hasn't been any the last 10, I believe. I'm looking it up right here. Let me go back. I think they've won 1 by 10, something like that. I don't want to lay points with this team. It's just, do you want to take Brooklyn as this ugly, ugly dog? This line, do you have 13s? I have 13.5s, 14s. Jeez, everywhere. Really? Yeah, you take a look.
Oh, wow. You're right. It's just Pinnacle that's holding back. My bad. And Bet Online as well. Wow. So Bet Online not moving it off. Wow, I'll go back, but you're right. Bet365 is 14.
Yeah.
The rest have 13.5s.
Yeah, there we go. Stonehill, at Stonehill, they had a 12-point win. But their home games are tight. They're a team that's just super slow, plodding. Why would you want to lay points with them? I mean, just Long Island's that bad. This team is just that horrible. But I think them with the points now, it's just though this line's going the other way. Merrimack is the better team. Just 15 points, though. To me, I'd be on this ugly dog. Something's just keeping me off. And another thing, Merrimack, you mentioned the last game, Jimmy, they're not good at home. They haven't covered the number. What are they, 1-6 ATS at home, I believe? Yep, 1-6 at home against the numbers, Merrimack. And they're laying this. I think you take this ugly dog or you pass if you want action here.
I had kind of wanted to have action here, but I'm really hesitant to start my day.
Yeah, I know.
I know. With Long Island, I'm really hesitant because I thought I was going to be starting my day at 2 p.m., but I'm not doing that now. And I'm really going to start my day with the Sharks. And maybe just the fact that they went into Sacred Heart and beat them, that Merrimack will take this seriously, especially coming off that home loss to Fairleigh Dickinson. Nunya says underspot here. This is going to end up being a stay off. I hate saying it, but I'm not moving on this. Are you going to stay off or are you going to make a move?
I'm going to stay off. I just, in the end, Noli just put it there. I really don't want my money on Brooklyn, but man, this is a ton for a Merrimack team that's just super slow. And I bet, could they win by 16? But I think they win by, 12 or less. I'm shocked the lines kept moving. Because, Long Island's that bad. This is just a shit ton of points. And a team that can't cover a number. It's just a little bit shocking to me.
Look, if we're in San Antonio, all together in the bar, it'd probably be fun to have a little bit of money on the Sharks.
Yeah.
But
hey, I've been thinking about it.
Well, we'll get the chance to do that in San Antonio, as March Madness will be on when we are there. So we'll get a ton of afternoon action to move on. And the official weight is in 6 pounds, 13 ounces for Rez Mob's granddaughter. Oh, that's so wonderful, man. Congratulations.
Congrats, Rez.
This is so cool. Equinimus asking who I got, Fedor or Bader. I've not. My skill set is not in that sport, so it wouldn't help you at all to hear who I'm on. Yeah. But I will be heavily intoxicated after our horse racing show, and maybe stick around for some of the UFC show as well. I am. Who do you have, Equinimus? I'd love to hear that. But congratulations to our Res Mob. We have a new low bagger, Peyton. That's wonderful. All right, let's move on to the next ball on the board. 6:30 p.m. Eastern. Marshall Thundering Herd, 18-5, 7-3 in the Sun Belt at App State. Mountaineers, 13-10, 6-4 in the Sun Belt. We had to Boone for this one. Marshall opening up at -3 at -110. That's exactly where they stand now. That came out 1:49 p.m. yesterday. No movement at all. From a total standpoint, it's opened up at 143. It's now at 145. It's 145 and a half, or actually 146. Excuse me, because the 145 and a half is at plus 105 to the under. So it's all the way up to 146. So the line is moving over. Nathan Flores, thank you, man. Look, I love what they do on their UFC show, but I bring nothing to the table. I bring nothing to the table except some boozy shenanigans. But sure, I'd love to hang out with the squad. Let's take a look at this Marshall App State line history. We have 1,197 tickets in, 78% of the tickets, 86% of the cash on Marshall, and the line's not moving towards them. Then you have 63% of tickets and 79% of cash on the over. And there's a spot where there is some concern, market moving towards the over. Billy Frieder says Marshall, they beat App by 26 earlier this season at Marshall. Marshall bounced back from their 86-82 double overtime loss at home to Louisiana Monroe by beating up on Georgia State 103-65 at home on Saturday as 12.5-point favorites. They shot 56.3% from the field, 42.3% from three, and they forced the Panthers into 23 turnovers. That's not a situation that I want to back a team after. They shoot beautifully against a cupcake. They win by 38 points. That does not appeal to me at all. App State comes in off its third straight win, 63-51 at home over Arkansas State on Saturday's 9.5-point favorites. You know, I think with the anger towards the beatdown that Marshall delivered, maybe App State is the spot, because we're sitting here looking at 86% of the cash on Marshall and the line not moving towards them. Let's hear what CMAC has to say about this spot. Sun Belt, Fun Belt, Marshall, App State.
For guy Mike M, this is where I went to in this game, Jamie, and this moved up. I don't get it, and it could get to a shootout because of Marshall, but I'm willing to take the chance. The last time it was lined with them at this game, Marshall took care of them 79-53. I think App State's more competitive in this game, being at home, but they have normal numbers, 128, 127, 133. Just rip through them all. One game's gone over, called that Coastal game. It went to OT, and I think I had that under, because I've been on a lot of App State unders. This line's moving up. I don't get it. I still be on this under, and I think I'm going to be on it here today. It doesn't bother me at all. I think if App State wants to control this game at home, they, with their slow pace, don't get up and down with Marshall. So not only I lean in the 3 with App State, but I really like this under, and I think I'm going to be on it.
Well, it's gone up to 146.5. So we'll put it here as a possibility.
But just wait, because
I
don't know how much higher it's going to get. I just think this is a total that's not even near what they play at. And Marshall's a high-scoring team. Don't get me wrong, but I think App State at home, I'm looking at the under.
So if we talk about the spot situationally here, and so one thing you guys know with CMAC is there's going to be spots that he's not going to pull the trigger on. He wants to study for longer, and he has the 5 p.m. show, and then he tweets out, he tags me, I retweet it. So keep in mind that this is, with his capping, it evolves throughout the day. With here,
well, in a game like this line's moving too. Why would I take it now? I mean, this was just 145.5. It's just something, they've just been an under team. The stats, I could rip through them all in conference. I just think this is too high of a total. And maybe they get into one of these shootouts, Jamie. But
the 146.5 right now that just moved at Bookmaker and BetChris is juiced to the over still.
Yeah.
Still juiced to the over here. And Jay Peasy, the closest guess for Rez Mob's granddaughter's weight. How about this? Jay Peasy, the closest guess. If Jay Peasy shows up in San Antonio, there will be a prize waiting for you. How about that? I'll give him that prize waiting for you. Let's talk about the situation here. Marshall just destroyed a cupcake. They're playing against an App State team that they destroyed. And I do not expect Marshall to shoot at 56.3% from the field, 42.3% from three. And I expect an angry App State team at home. The 86% of cash on Marshall, market not moving towards them. How about App State first half?
Yeah, I don't mind it.
App State first half. We know they're going to come out strong early, and maybe Marshall's offense takes over. Maybe. And I like that, and I expect to do that. App State first half, and CMAC may be moving. I'm going to put question marks around it. The under 146.5 at minus 105. Let's move on. Next up for us, Conference USA basketball, and the number 19 ranked Florida Atlantic Owls. 20 straight victories, 21-1, 11-0 in conference at UAB Blazers, 15-7, 6-5 in conference. We're at Bartow Arena in Birmingham, Alabama. And Noli No says Marshall out rebounded them 49-24. What changes?
That won't. They're going to dominate them on the glass. App State's got to play slow and like their kind of style of game because they are a little bit smaller, but they will get beat up on the glass.
So, okay, maybe I need to put more time. So, what is it? What are the positives that you would say for? Can you just slip back to Marshall App State here for a second, Jose, with the graphics? What does App State have in their favor other than revenge? Other than, when was that? They both just played on Saturday. So other than revenge and me not believing that the Marshall's going to come in and shoot 56.3% from the field again.
Marshall's been so good all year. I get it, but I don't think they're this good a team. They beat up on a lot of bad teams. I like how App State's been playing lately. Other than the loss to Coastal, the wins have been good. Troy, they held them to 45 points. Old Dominion. I think they're just playing solid basketball. I like them at home. That's just where I'd be on the sidewise. I'm just waiting on this total. It's got me shaking my head.
Craig saying free throw percentage, defense, turnovers, and bench favor App State. So maybe if you want, maybe it's got to be a full game scenario. Okay, I'm gonna have to sit with this one a little longer. So I'm gonna go Av, or certainly not doubling up, or full game for me with App State. Okay, we move on to Florida Atlantic, UAB Blazers, and Mally Mal already talking about Jordan Walker injury and how it's affected UAB Blazers. But let's talk about the spot here. Birmingham, Alabama. Going to the line history first here for Florida Atlantic, UAB. We have Florida Atlantic opening as 1-point favorites. They're now 1.5-point dogs. That's a big move. That's at Pinnacle. Let's move over to Bet Online, which would probably be even bigger. No, exact same. No, Pinnacle, Pinnacle opened this up at +1 for Florida Atlantic. Then Florida Atlantic became favorites. And then it came back. Interesting. So Bet Online opened this money line for Florida Atlantic at -101, now +105. And Pinnacle will have a bigger one, even though it came out. No, they don't. -101 +103. Interesting. Okay, totals wise over at Bet Online, this opened up at 150.5 and has dropped all the way down to 146.5. A 4-point drop. 4-point drop. Let's take a look at the cash flow for this one. 4,152 tickets in. 55% of the tickets, 69% of the cash on UAB. That's pretty telling. Then 16% of the tickets on the under, but 40% of the cash in this market's moved quickly to the under. Florida Atlantic, as I said, coming off their 20th straight win. 70-63 at home over Western Kentucky on Saturday's 12-point favorites. They didn't look very good. Shot 37.1% from the field, 34.2 from three. They just barely got by the Blazers on January 5th. They beat them at home 88-86 in overtime as 2-point favorites. UAB comes in off its second straight win, and it was impressive. It's impressive. Rice is a good basketball team this year. They beat them 70-52 as 1.5-point favorites, and they were dominating from the get-go, from the jump. They were up 33-15 at the half. They've done this all without leading scorer, senior guard Jordan Walker, averaging 23.8 points per game. He's been out since January 11th with a leg injury, and he's listed as questionable. He scored 21 points in that loss at Florida Atlantic in overtime. Junior forward Javian Davis has been suspended indefinitely from the program. He missed the Rice game. That was the first game that he'd missed. 6'9", 265-pound forward that averages 6.9 points and 4.7 boards. You take Javian Davis out. You have Jordan Walker a question mark. And Look, I don't know what to say now. Initially, I was thinking what a perfect spot for Ravenga. Now, I don't know. Let's hear what CMAC has to say. Take it away, Florida Atlantic, UAB.
Yeah, I mean, I like UAB here. I just think Walker's too big. I think these last few games, like you talked about, they've learned to play without him, and they've become more of an under team. Defense has been more, kind of a need and a thing they need to get done, and the unders have come without him. So it'll be interesting because that first game, 88-86, and he was his normal self. I think he had right around 25 points in that one. He averages just about almost 24. I think he's so key, though, in a game like this. At home, place has got to be pumped. The home team has been good between these two. FAU's been good all year long. So the people that have been cashing with them, I get it. I'd like to have Walker in. I think he's got to be in for you to play. Even though UAB's playing better and this is a big game they could win at home without him, FAU's just been that good all year long and been able to get it done. So I got to wait with him. But I'm leaning UAB here. I'm going to stay off the total here. Maybe if he's in, you could go over, but this team has slowed it down. Everything's kind of changed with him out, Jimmy.
And then they also lose Javian Davis, who was playing a legit role. Maybe it's possible that he was not helpful in the locker room because they played their first game without him, and they played their best game all year. There's the sweaty butcher in the house. The coin currency play of the day is UAB as a pick'em. I don't know anymore. Because look, if we are, if we're an hour before game time and we hear Jordan Walker's in, wouldn't you then want Florida Atlantic at a better price?
Yeah, if you like Florida Atlantic.
But also because you know what happens when the star player returns. It's generally not helpful in that first game. I didn't know what to do on this game. The player personnel issues that are going on with UAB are holding me back, and then we have 54% of the tickets, 67% of the cash, believing that UAB is going to stop what's going on in Florida Atlantic. And you know what? I guess I'm no longer sold, really. Okay. What can you explain that question a little more good? But I can give you the name of Javian Davis, who's being suspended indefinitely by the program. I'll just put it here. I'll just put from my notes. How about that? This goes straight from my notes. Then you guys can look into it. Here we go. And Coin saying unranked home favorite versus ranked opponent angles being money this year. There's no doubt about it. There's no doubt about that it's been money. But this is slightly different where I don't know. I guess what the problem here with me is I don't know exactly what's going on. And that makes me hesitant to want to put any money on the game. I guess that's what comes out.
Yeah.
Is there
anything?
I feel
you.
Yeah, you feel me?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I need to know more, and haven't got enough. If I don't have the feel, I'm not going to just make a bet just to make it. Exactly.
So at this point, I understand the angle, but I'm just not going to move on it. And Billy Friedrich says conduct detrimental to the team. Daryl Turner looking at FAU first half. Nothing from us. I also like that Florida Atlantic seemed like they were not paying attention to Western Kentucky as they should have, because they know this is the game waiting for them. They shot poorly. They played poorly. They barely beat Western Kentucky at home. Craig Wood says FAU 7-1 against the spread on the road last 8. So
very good on the road. That's why it makes this difficult. Very good defensively, especially inside. One of the top teams. Good on the glass, good against twos, especially. Got a great 6-man. Davis 16-6. I mean, this team is good. So that's why this isn't easy.
We had a somewhat similar spot against Middle Tennessee, and Florida Atlantic destroyed them, beat them 85-67. So, and Rocco Rogers says UAB -1.5 now and -125 money line. So I get the angle. At this point, I'm not going to do anything. Coin currency play today is UAB as a pick 'em at -110. Let's move on. Next up for us, we head over to the Big Ten, little Big Ten action. Wisconsin Badgers, 12-8, 4-6 in the Big Ten at Ohio State Buckeyes, 11-10, 3-7 in conference. Head to Value City Arena in Columbus, Ohio for this one. We'll start with the line history here for Wisconsin, Ohio State. Let me move this up. Here we go. We have Ohio State opening up -7.5. That's where they stand now. It dipped to 7 for a little bit. That's at Pinnacle. It always opens on Pinnacle, so I should switch over my opening for college. But this BetOnline opened up at 8, and it's now at 7.5. At BetOnline, this total opened up at 134. It's now at 132.5. Mally Mal says Ohio State has been terrible. They sure have lost 7 of their last 8. Take a look at the cash flow here for this one. We have slight line value being given to Ohio State. 25% of the tickets, 21% of the cash on Ohio State. So you have Wisconsin as a public dog against a big favorite who's lost 7 of their last 8. 66% of the tickets, 97% of the cash on the over. Let me double check that. Is that right? 66% of the tickets, 97% cash on the over. And that total has dropped 1.5. So very confusing from that regard. Wisconsin comes in off their third straight loss, 61-51 at home to Illinois on Saturday's 2-point dogs. They shot 33.3% from the field. They're 2-4 on the road. What changes here? Ohio State comes in off its second straight loss and 7th over its last 8 games. An 86-70 setback at Indiana as 5-point dogs. Look, they're terrible on the road, and they've shown us that. But something changes when they get home, and they're 8-2 at home. Yeah. Let's hear what CMAC has to say here. Whiskey, Ohio State.
This is ugly. I think we've got to be quick with this one. I think it's Ohio State or nothing, and there's not a lot to back them. They're 1-7 the last 8. I was on them a couple Saturdays ago against Iowa. Now they, back-to-back losses. When they go on the road, this team just struggles to score. That game got over. I did have that over in Indiana on Saturday with them, that 86. They scored 70, but they gave up 86. The defense just crumbles. They're better back here at home. You're just laying 7.5 now. This is the stretch number that I really don't want to lay with a team that hasn't been good against the number. Flip side, Wisconsin hasn't covered anything in 9 or 10 straight. This team struggles so bad to score. I wanted to look up Wisconsin's team total, but maybe they score a little bit more tonight. It's Ohio State team that's not very good defensively, but usually at home they score more, so there could be extra baskets, because I was going to maybe look at Wisconsin's team total under. 7.5's a lot. Even against this, still is Wisconsin, but how can you even look at them as a dog? I want nothing here. I think we just move on.
I hear you about moving on, but I'm starting to think that we might be getting value here with Ohio State. I'm starting to think that they've looked bad.
Is this real value?
Well, we have all this money on Wisconsin and the line's not moving, and Ohio State 8-2 at home. I mean, can we look past what's been going on lately, because there's no injury explanation?
No, Key's back. I mean, this is where you take them. Like I said, it's just, do you want to lay the 7.5? I mean, this is their spot at home. I did against Iowa. Would they win by 15? They were 3-point favorites in that game. It'd be a lot better if Wisconsin was playing, with this normally probably seemed like it'd be 3.5 to 4.5, 5. 7.5 with a team this bad against the number. They are at home. This is the spot for them. So I get it that way, what you're talking about.
Get it, DC. Drive safe, my man. And I'm going to go over all of your action too, so everybody watching knows what you are on. Shout out to Big Show Picks joining us as well. Craig Wood said, why hasn't the line moved down? Did we not learn anything from the Marquette line yesterday? I sit back and I feel like that this might be an actual that Ohio State is. We talk about where do you like to back somebody, like Florida had lost by 14 on the road, and I was like, I know they're going to bounce back here at home. And it was
I did it with Ohio State. They had lost 4 in a row before they beat Iowa. Then they dropped 2 more. I did it a couple Saturdays ago. They were 3-point favorites at home. That'd be a little bit better than 7.5. But I get it. Maybe you look first half. This Wisconsin team can't break 60. And if they do, it's barely. This team can't get in the 70s right now. Could they even do that against not a great defensive team? But Ohio State defense a little bit better at home, like I talked about, than on the road. So
I'm interested in Ohio State here. I feel like the public watching them lose 7 of 8, and Shaolin thinks it's going to come down to one shot. I don't know if it will. I'm going to take more time on this, but I'm going to move on. I am definitely going to bet Ohio State. I just don't know if I'm going to actually push it or just maybe just the first half and get in and out. So I'm going to move on Ohio State here. Noli says feels like an Ohio State spot, but I agree with C-Mac. How can you trust them? They're overvalued at home.
And real quick, one thing at home though, they're a real big jump shooting team. You know, they seem to shoot it better. You know, at home, a lot of teams do, but that's where they, you know, a lot of guard, a lot of long 2s and 3s. So especially when they're at home dropping, you know, they could cover this easy.
All right. I'm interested. I'm very interested. Let's stay in the Big Ten. We move on 7 p.m. Eastern. Michigan Wolverines 11-10, 5-5 in conference. Northwestern Wildcats 15-6, 6-4 in conference. We're in Evanston for this one. Let's take a look at the line history for this Michigan Northwestern spot. We have there we go. We have Michigan opening up as 4.5-point dogs. They're now 3-point dogs. That's at Pinnacle. Let's see what BetOnline did as it came out 3 hours earlier. Pinnacle opened this up at 3.5, and it's at 3.5. So Pinnacle did no moving. But the interesting thing about BetOnline. The interesting thing about BetOnline was they opened it up at 3.5, and it got up to 5. Got all the way up to 5. So within 2 hours and 31 minutes, there was a 1.5 move towards Northwestern. And since then, it's been all Wolverines. Total wise, it's opened up at 139.5. It's now at 138.5. Cash flow wise, we have slight line value given to Michigan. 3,923 tickets in, 57% of the tickets, 68% of cash on Michigan. Then 66% of the tickets and 65% of cash on the under. Parlay Street says Penn State was in this spot against Rutgers. Going back to the Ohio State spot, says I like Ohio State. DC Cappers on the over Michigan Northwestern, over 138. There's our guy Isaiah Scurry in the house. What up, Isaiah? Michigan comes in off its second straight loss, 83-61 on Sunday at Penn State as 4-point dogs. They look bad. Northwestern had their 3-game winning streak snapped in an 86-70 loss at Iowa on Tuesday as 6.5-point dogs. They lost 85-78 at Michigan back on January 15th as 4-point dogs. Here you have Northwestern playing 48 hours ago, losing by 16. You have Michigan last playing on Sunday, so they have a rest advantage. This one is difficult. Take it away for us, C-Mac, Wolverines, Wildcats.
This is because here's the deal. Northwestern back at home. This team for me, for years, is just hard to trust. Every time they start playing good basketball, they lose. And look what they did on Saturday. They just kind of got blown out. But they are back at home here. The problem is why everyone likes Michigan. I think a buy low with them. Michigan's owned them. They just, especially lately, Northwestern can't beat them, really. It's been a problem with them. It's kind of like Illinois, these teams, once they play them, Northwestern will just lose, and that always kills them every year in conference play. I lean to the over. When these teams get together, Northwestern trending over. Who had the over? You said DC Capper, was it?
Yeah, DC Capper.
Yeah.
Over, yeah.
I lean to this over here. I think there's some points in this one. Michigan defense has not been good. But this is a tough one for me. I'm off right now.
Yeah, I don't really feel like I have. What do you think? From your, you capping college basketball every single day and putting all your time into it, or a huge chunk of your time into it. What do you feel about a team with 48 hours off between games?
I don't love it, but I do think being at home always helps out. Michigan needs to win this though, Jimmy. Like they needed a big win. The thing they gave everything with Purdue, and they didn't get it done. and they just need wins right now, or they're not going to make the tournament. So that's why I think it's tough. And money came in right away. I thought, people saw 4.5 and the success they've always had against Northwestern. So difficult one, I thought, here. Do you trust Northwestern enough, too?
I only know saying this is an over spot. Mike M saying home faves in the Big Ten are on fire right now. Since January 25th, Big Ten home faves are 13-4 straight up, 13-3-1 against the spread, and 12-5 to the over. And he says also that fits Ohio State tonight. Northander says I'm not a believer in Michigan at all, but I lean Michigan here. I'm not moving on this, son. I'm staying off. And Not Plush On says to everyone in the chat, you're leaving money on the table if you're not betting golf. And the way to get your feet wet is to tune into C-Mac and Gokster. Don't leave cash on the table.
Appreciate it.
Craig Wood saying Northwestern 7-0 to the over last 7. All right, no move for me here in that Big Ten matchup. We move over and back to the Sun Belt. I was excited about adding this game, and there's a couple ones that I added that I was really excited about with some smaller schools. But we head over to the Sun Belt for this one. Let me make sure that I have the line history here. I do. Okay, let's get to work here. 7 p.m. Eastern, Southern Miss Golden Eagles 19-4, 8-2 in conference at Troy. Trojans 13-10, 5-5 in conference. Trojan Arena in Troy, Alabama. Troy opening up at -1. They're now +1, and that +1 is pretty juiced. So let's take a look at the money line. The money line over at Penny, they opened up Troy -115. They're now -112. So nothing. No movement there. Let's see what BetOnline did. BetOnline opened Troy up -123. They're now at -118. So there you go. Total wise, it's opened up at 138. It's now at 139. And when we go to the cash here in Troy, Southern Miss, we have Troy given line value, but that's not pushing gamblers to bet them at all. Southern Miss, with 1,248 tickets in, has 60% of the tickets and 95% of the cash on Southern Miss. 80% of the tickets and 88% of the cash on the over. 88% on the over, and we've seen that total go up a point. So something happening there. Southern Miss comes in off its 5th straight win. 67-58 at home over Texas State on Saturday as 8-point favorites. Troy comes in off its 2nd straight loss and 4th over the last 5 games. And it was ugly, 77-60 at South Alabama on Saturday as 1.5-point dogs, but maybe coming home is the tonic. Certainly Southern Miss has their eye on winning the Sun Belt and getting to the dance. Take it away for us here, C-Mac. Golden Eagles, Trojans.
I think this is what's going on here. Just two teams in different directions. Southern Miss playing basketball. One key, too, though, going on the road. So their last game, Arkansas State, they won easy. But their last tough one, Marshall, they did get blown out. Monroe, they won by 5. These are teams they should take care of on the road. This one I find a little bit tougher, but Troy kind of just sliding off all the early success. Some bad losses as of late. Does being at home here help out? I don't trust them enough. I kind of lean the hot hand with Southern Miss. They've kind of owned them too of late. This was a pass for me.
Yeah, I'm surprised if Southern Miss. I'm surprised the market's not moving to Southern Miss's direction. All the money's coming in on Southern Miss. When I see that the market not moving, I think, well, I'd probably want to be opposite of that. I think the books are very comfortable taking all the money on one side, but I can't trust Troy in this situation. So exactly. I'm with you. This is a no move. Let's switch conferences again. We head to the CAA. Towson Tigers, 16-7, 8-2 in conference. At Hofstra Pride, 15-8, 8-2 in conference. Hempstead, New York for this one. Let's take a look at the line history here. We have Towson opening up at +3.5, got up to +4, got down to +3. They're still right at the +3.5. That's a Pinnacle. Over at BetOnline, opened up at +3.5, now at +3. From a total standpoint, opened up at 137. It did drop immediately to 135.5, but it's right back at 137. Let's take a look at the cash flow for this one. I'm excited about this one tonight. I thought I had it up here. Towson Hofstra. So Towson has been given almost the most line value according to Sports Insights of any team here. I guess Stanford has the most. Cleveland State, Stanford have the most. But Towson's got a ton, maybe top 5 in perceived line value according to Sports Insights. 60% of the tickets, 67% of cash on Towson. 79% of tickets on the over. Craig Wood saying Hofstra can't rebound. My whole plan here was Towson first half, but I did want to talk everything out before I moved on it. Let's discuss it. Towson comes in off its 6th straight win, 92-73 at home over William and Mary on Saturday's 13.5-point favorites. They shot 52.1% from the field and 41.7% from 3. William and Mary shot very well, but Towson only turned the ball over 6 times. It just feels like they're ready to play their best basketball. And Hofstra comes in off its 3rd straight win, a season-defining performance, an impressive 85-81 win at then number 18 ranked Charleston on Saturday is 9-point dogs. With that all being said, the reason why I stayed off Oklahoma when all you guys were on Oklahoma was because I was like, how can you back Oklahoma after a season-defining win? That will always be an angle that we go right back to. Now, I'm not good enough, to move over and take Oklahoma State. But I knew enough to stay off of Oklahoma. And here, how do we bet a Hofstra after they feel so good about themselves going into Charleston? Now, maybe Hofstra is the better basketball team and they'll win in the long run, but I feel like Towson first half is alive. Take it away here, C-Mac. Towson Tigers, Hofstra pride.
I agree. I think the real look is just Hofstra's off the big win. You mentioned it. In the huge second half in that game against Charleston is the bad loss that they just got their ass whipped, at Towson. 47 points. I think it was the lowest total for them to score all year. Who said it? Craig, I believe. They can't rebound. This team struggles. I don't like that. With a team laying points like this with Hofstra, I think they're pretty good, but I think Towson's just flat better. And both have been good against the number. Hofstra's been great. 7-1 ATS the last 8. That's why this is a little bit tough. But in the end, just better team all the way around. I think Towson is. So with the points, I think is the way to look with them.
Huh. Interesting. And is this
I don't know.
I'll
let you know.
Okay, let me know.
One thing with Hofstra, they are at home. They shoot it pretty good. This team can shoot it from 3 well. Decent free throw shooting team. So we mentioned their size. It's just being at home, a little of that revenge after that ass whooping. I'm sure they remember that, even off the high of that good win on Saturday. That's the only thing that's got me a little question here. But I think Towson's better.
You're right. And Craig Wood saying it as well, saying the only thing keeping me off is the Towson blowout over Hofstra. Home revenge is a scary spot. Nanya saying we've seen how bad Hofstra can be. I was focusing too much on the angle of they're coming off a season-defining performance when I should have been adding in the angle of Hofstra getting blown out by 21 at Towson. Okay. Well, that I guess will end up keeping me off of this. The revenge angle, I would say, is level with the not wanting Hofstra off a season-defining win. So,
they played well, shot it well. They are at home, and the guy who was in the second half too, and when he gets going, he had 20. Is Estrada. To me, he always is the go-to with Hofstra, especially if he's in the 20s. Hofstra's pretty good, especially at home.
Yeah, and Craig would say exactly the same as we dealt with OK State versus Oklahoma. Okay. All right, so that's fine. Also, Lee Davis saying Charleston was 5-31 from 3 versus Hofstra. I think I've got enough action in college basketball, so I don't need to reach here. And we still have 4 games left here. So let's move over to the West Coast for Pac-12 action, 8 p.m. Eastern. Stanford Cardinal 9-12, 3-7 in conference. At the Utah Utes 15-8, 8-4 in conference. But at the John M. Huntsman Center in Salt Lake City, Utah. We'll start with the line history here for this one. This one popping off at 8 p.m. There it is, Stanford, Utah. Sorry, move over there. Stanford opening up at +7.5. They're now at +6. Totals wise, it's opened up at 133.5. There's been no movement, but let's go over to Bet Online and see if there's some movement there. Bet Online has it gone up a half point at Bet Online, and they've gone from 7 to 6. So not much there. Cash wise here for this one. Let me get it up. Here we go. Stanford, as I said, given the most amount of line value on this entire card, 31% of the tickets, 74% of the cash on them, 2,445 tickets in. So they're also 40% of tickets and 62% of cash on the over. Stanford comes in off its 4th straight win on Saturday, 75-46 beatdown of California at home as 10.5-point favorites. That's not usually a spot where I'd want to back a team after beating up a terrible basketball team. 6'9", 240-pound forward James Keefe is questionable with a hand injury. He's been out since the 19th of January, so they've gotten comfortable without him on the floor. He averages 5.6 points and 4.9 boards. Utah had their 3-game winning streak snapped in a 68-56 loss at Oregon on Saturday's 5-point dogs. They shot 28.1% from the field and 34.8% from three. This is usually the spot where I would want to back Utah. And I've done it so well this year, waiting for them to lose, waiting for them to come back home. But everything has changed because second leading scorer, Gabe Madison, is questionable with a leg injury. He averages over 11 points a game, 6'6". He can defend the perimeter. He does so many things for them. And he left after 2 minutes of the Oregon game, and we saw what happened. They shot 28.1%. Yep. So with Madison being out, and then Stanford also coming off beating up a cupcake. Let's hand the floor over to our CMAC, who maybe can shine some light on the spot. Take it away, Cardinal Utes.
Yeah, this is where Madson's really big, I think, too. We saw earlier when the big guy, Carlson's out, they just kind of would crumble too. They went, not that they would be in it, but they just didn't look good at all at SC and at UCLA. They are at home. This is where I like them a lot better. They had one shitty game, though, that Oregon game, Utah, where they lost by 10. They couldn't hit a shot and lost. One thing with Stanford, all those games were at home. They have looked really, really good. I've been impressed with them. But now they hit the road. It's just a different place to play in Salt Lake. It just is. But I think you got to have Madsen in, and it showed. You know, I think he's too important to a team that I don't think is too crazy deep, especially with size. Other than Carlson, he's pretty good, like you mentioned, 6'6", 6'7". Tough here. You know what I want to go to is the under a little bit. Both these teams, to me, have been playing very good defensively. I wish this total was a little bit higher, but I've been staring at this since last night. I'm leaning to this under in this basketball game.
Yeah, I see why you would. Lee Davis's Stanford away performance is ranked 353rd on Haslam. This has moving parts that make it a lot more difficult than one would expect from it, because generally speaking, I'd want Utah back at home badly after a poor performance, but now we can explain the performance and it's injury related. And now they had a few days to think about how they're going to handle it here. And Madsen, he's just questionable, or he's still questionable. So
questionable,
unlikely is what I would think. But he's still could possibly be in. That was 5 days ago that he got hurt. And then when we go over to the cash, looks like the bigger bets at this point have come in on the over, but I can completely understand your thoughts on the under. So here you have Stanford with all this line value playing so well at home. Now they go over to Salt Lake, which is a tough place to play at the Huntsman Center. And, you put all this together, and I don't want to move on it, which I don't.
I moved on both those when they played Washington State and Washington. I laid it with Utah at home, and they took care of business. And I'd sure like to know if he was playing, especially off the bad loss. Jamie, with Oregon, he went out, and we're going to get to Oregon, this up and down basketball team. I just can't figure out what's going on when they're on or not. But you think this is a good spot, but there's just so many parts. This market move, the point go from 7.5 to 6 to Stanford, who's been playing so well, but 4 straight at home. It's not easy for that Utah trip and then to Boulder after.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to stay off.
I think they
of
already
it.
played them though. Usually these teams play back to back, but I think they already played at Colorado.
I'm gonna stay off of this spot. There's Turnsey in the house. Turnsey, let's go to San Antonio, man. I got NBA Jam waiting for you, tournament edition right here in the spot. We'll hit the plane with Gokster. We're ready. All right, let's move on. Another spot, a possible under for CMAC. A possible under there. Let's move on and head over to the American. Number 3 ranked Houston Cougars, 20-2, 8-1 in conference at the Wichita State Shockers, 11-10, 4-5 in conference. Head to Wichita for this one. Let's take a look at the line history here. Move over here and see what we are dealing with. We have Dabby Cab's Houston Cougars. He loves the squad. Opening up at -12.5, now at -12 at Pinnacle. We'll go down to Bet Online. Opening up at -13 there, now at -12. Totals wise, is opened up at 131.5 and is now at 130. Let's move over to the cash flow for this one. We have Wichita State given about 20, just a little under 25% line value, 3,566 tickets in. 36% of the tickets, 49% of cash is on Wichita State. Then 51% of the tickets and 86% of cash is on the under. Rich Abraham coming in saying he's loving the over in this one. Houston comes in off its second straight win, 75-69 at home versus Cincinnati as 14-point favorites. They shot 56.6% from the field. Wichita State comes in off its second win in 3 games, 85-72 at East Carolina on Sunday as 4.5-point favorites. Here in this spot, Wichita, story program. This is their biggest game of the year at home, and I want to back them in this spot here. Take it away, CMAC. Cougars, Shockers.
Yeah, I've been impressed with Houston all year, but I don't want them here. I want Wichita. I want to, especially if we can still get a 12.5. They have played well, but as of late, it seems like they're on cruise right now a little bit, and this could backfire us. Wichita has always played them tough. Rich said they've been scoring. Their overs have been just rolling for Wichita. This team scoring a lot better, and they struggled early on to score. They've been just rolling with it. Maybe this total's too low. And one thing, Wichita plays this team tough year in, year out, close games. The close one with Temple, they just covered, I think most people, the UCF game. Tight one with Cincinnati was getting 14. Just close games. South Florida. I'll dare them to win and cover here. I'll take Wichita in the 12 if you can get 12.5.
I like the look. Do you have? Can you talk to me a little bit? Because this is the kind of line where I almost prefer a first half spot. Wichita to be real strong early, and then I get nervous. Or do you think Wichita is going to play 40 minutes of basketball here, and if they're down 17, there's still a chance for a backdoor cover? Is that part of the thinking as well?
My problem with Houston, I've had this problem with them. They're the best first half team in college basketball, but lately hasn't been that good. It's kind of come back down a little bit. And, I think I've been messing around a little too much with these first halves. We shouldn't have done it. Everything spoke to it last week, Jimmy, with Southern Utah, but it just didn't work out. And they steamrolled in the second half. There's just certain times, I don't know. It's up to you. I mean, I like it. I just don't know if I want to split my bet that way. I just stick to full game in this one. And like I said, Houston's really good. And if they could dominate early, you know how good this team is, just rebounding, they could overwhelm them. But I think Wichita, this is the biggest game, like you mentioned. This is it here at home. So
Billy Friedrich saying Houston undefeated against the spread on the road. We can get you that 12.5, -110 at Pinnacle. So we have official look here for CMAC. And I hear that. And also, I think, is it possible, Billy Friedrich saying, I think they've lost 3 first halves in a row, or at least 2 of the last 3, that they might be a little more alert in the first half because of their struggles in the first half over the last couple games?
Maybe. Yeah, it's just, I don't want to get fucking cute with this shit. I'm just going to go full game here.
Yeah.
They just covered that UCF game, on the road. Some of their tighter losses, I guess, that lately have been at home for Houston. I don't know. Are they really up for this one? I think Wichita will. I couldn't believe they dominated that first half on Saturday or Sunday. Sorry, I looked at East Carolina. See, I'm like, I think Wichita was up like 49-25 in that game. They just destroyed East Carolina. They won 85-72, but they just killed them first half. And they've been playing good basketball. I know SMU's down. They lost by 10 to Memphis, but I'll take them here.
I like it. I'm joining you. Wichita State plus 12.5 for CMAC. And it's 12 where I would bet it, but I'm definitely on it. I'm definitely on it and comfortable sticking with the full game. Let's go back to the Pac-12 for the next spot on the board. 10:30 p.m. Eastern. Oregon Ducks 13-9, 7-4 in conference at the number 5 ranked Arizona Wildcats 19-3, 8-3 in conference, and playing very good basketball right now. Let's see what we are dealing with here. Let me pull this up. This one pops off at 10:30. And here we go. Oregon, Arizona. Arizona opening up -8.5. They're now -8. It did get down to -7. That's at Pinnacle. So we'll go over to Bet Online. Bet Online opened this up. Arizona -7 and got Arizona all the way up to -9 last night at 9:30. Now it's back to -8, slightly juiced. Totals wise, it's opened up at 150.5 and it's now at 151. Take a look at the cash flow here for this one. Oregon, Arizona, 4,101 tickets in, 31% of the tickets and 72% of the cash on Oregon. Then 65% of the tickets and 97% of the cash on the under. And it's gone up a half point. Now, it had dropped, though. I guess it was down to 148.5 until there was buyback on the over. All right. Getting back too often. That's why not message for me. Where's the ROI stats, Jimmy? For what ROI stats are you looking for, Loopy? My man. What ROI stats are you interested in? All right. We're at the McHale Center in Tucson, Arizona for this one. So let's go. Oregon comes in off its second straight win on Saturday, the one we just spoke of, 68-56 at home over Utah as 5-point favorites. And, of course, the game changed 2 minutes in when Gabe Madison was hurt. So Arizona comes in off its fourth straight win, 95-72 at Washington on Saturday as 8.5-point favorites. They looked about as good as a team can look. 52.3% from the field, 42.3% from three, in complete control of this basketball game on the road as well. And they looked vulnerable at times on the road. Remember, we cashed with Utah over Arizona on the road earlier this year. Take it away here for us, CMAC, Ducks, Wildcats.
I think Oregon's been such a hit and miss team. We talked about it here on the road too. I saw them just get destroyed. Colorado, they had the good win against Utah, which I was on, and it's been up and down. They've played better as of late. Altman's got them going. I don't love this here though, and Oregon beat them earlier in the year too. What was it? 87-68. So I think Arizona wants a little revenge here. Their defense, I don't know what to make of it, can get sloppy with a lead, but I think this is an Arizona or nothing for me here. As good as Oregon's been playing, I'm looking at Arizona here at home.
I agree. At this point, I'm not going to go up against what I perceive to be sharp action on Arizona. That's the only reason. Other than that, I would immediately be on at least Arizona first half. But I'm going to stay off. But you're right. I don't believe that the win was as good as it looked over Utah. And so, yeah, you're absolutely – I agree with you. But in this case, I'm going to be staying off of Oregon, Arizona. Jarek White says still like it at -8.5, CMAC. That's stretching it. Oregon's played them well, not only beating them. Last few years they played Arizona tough. Arizona these games, the last few have gone over, but Arizona now, after these crazy totals that earlier in the year have been dead nuts under, really good. I
I'm kind of look that way too here, but this could just be scoring. So I'm off. But
all right, I'm off as well. Unfortunately, I thought that was going to be a game I'd be on. Let's move on to the final spot on the board: Washington State Cougars, 10-13, 5-7 in the Pac-12. At USC Trojans, 15-6, 7-3 in the Pac-12. Head to LA for this one. Market moving towards the Trojans. They opened up -5. They're now -7.5. That's at Pinnacle. That was open at 5:58 p.m. yesterday. Bet Online opened it up at 2:31. They opened up at 5, and it's now at 7. From a totals perspective, it opened up at 132.5 and it's dropped to 131. Let's take a look at the cash flow for this one. 3,439 tickets in, 24% of the tickets, 32% of the cash on Washington State, but the line is moving towards USC. Then we have 98% of the cash on the over. 98% of the cash. We don't have a ticket count, but 98% cash on the over, and we've seen it drop. So confusing total analysis from the market thus far today. But let's talk about the spot. Washington State snapped their 3-game losing streak with a 75-58 home win over Arizona State. Saturday is 3.5-point favorites. And here is that perfect spot that I want to fade. USC coming in off their most important victory to date. And that was 9 days ago. 77-64 at home over UCLA on Thursday is 4.5-point dogs. Boogie Ellis went for 31. This is screaming Washington State first half to me. Take it away, C-Mac. What do the Trojans do after beating UCLA?
I think there's been enough time. It does seem a little bit flat. It'll be key for Wazoo's, been up and down on the road throughout the year. They're so slow. They hold the ball on forever. I've been on this team's unders a ton. They shoot the three, though, okay, and they rely on it, though. They shoot 36%, it's 81st in the country, but they shoot a lot of them, and they got to drop. And if they don't, because they only score 67.9. That's 280. They're 298 on twos. I don't think they're athletic enough and deep enough. But yeah, I like how SC's playing, but maybe it is a flat spot early. I liked SC when I saw this at 5, and then it's moved. Now I don't want it really at 7. I'm off.
So we talked about your thoughts on 2 days off in between games as we are dealing with in an earlier game. Which one was that? That was the which one was the 2 days off spot? I'll pull it up here. Why am I not remembering when the Tuesday game was? But here we have 9 days off. C-Mac, what are your thoughts on backing a team after 9 days off?
Yeah, that is kind of long. I always thought if it was like 5 to 7 a week, it's a little bit fresh because you're playing so much right now. 9's a little bit longer, I still think. But maybe they're a little lackadaisical. Like you said, Jimmy, maybe this is Wazoo early. If Yeah,
it's the move I want to make. It takes balls to put your money on a spot like this, and I initially feel hesitancy towards it, but I really feel like it's the play here. Cougars first half. Let's just take a look and see what I would be getting on it here. Move over at my book. Moving on this one. This is an 11 p.m. starter, so this is the final game here on the college basketball landscape. Let's get over here. Washington State, USC, first half +4. +4. Ugh. I want it. It was my plan all along, and I have to trust myself in these spots. Washington first half +4. It feels like one of those spots where, this bet will be winning and winning and winning and winning until it's not. With a minute or two left. Lee Davis says 6 days. No, that game was on Thursday at UCLA. Right? It's 4.5-point dogs. They haven't played since that UCLA game, have they? If they have, then my whole cap is messed up. Have they played since UCLA? Let me just quickly run down.
No, but isn't that a week?
Oh shit! It is Thursday. What the hell am I talking about? Why am I? Fuck, man, you're absolutely right. Why does I feel if I was in my head? I was like, it's Saturday. Of course, that's only been a week because we capped it right here. Thank you, Lee. So 7 days off between. That doesn't change that much to me, but I understand that 5 to 7 is in the wheelhouse. And Billy Freeze says Groundhog Day. Yeah, thank you, Lee. Shake my head a bit there. It's still kind of a lot, but no, that's very, very important to mention that, Lee. So thank you for that. I'm going to move on Washington State first half here at +4. let's take a review of all action here. Again, when I go back to that Washington State game here quickly, this game means so much to Washington State. Get to head down to LA. You're going to have eyes on you. USC just beat UCLA. This game doesn't mean much to them now. Hopefully it will, or they'll fall apart here. All right, let's go over all action. We have a game popping off in 24 minutes. Nunya gave us the over 127 in Central Connecticut money line. Unfortunately for us, CMAC and I have stayed off of it. And we stayed off of Long Island Merrimack here. CMAC has interest in the 146.5, but it's climbing in Marshall Appalachian State, wanting to go under. He's going to see how high it climbs. I'm going to be on App State. I need to decide if it's first half or full game. I'm certainly not moving on both. Jake Burns, what's happening, my man? Welcome. Never too late to jump in. Coin currency play of the day is on UAB at a pick'em, and I'm off of it. I thought that was going to be a spot that I was going to back, but there's some moving parts with JV and Davis being suspended, and Jordan Walker may or may not be coming in. If Jordan Walker plays, I'd like to bet against them and back Florida Atlantic. So I'm going to need to wait on this. I'm going to back Ohio State, and I'm starting to get more and more confident in the spot, strangely enough. And I'm still beating myself up for not doubling up on Utah State yesterday, only taking them full game. And maybe this is my one spot where I might want to double up, but I probably shouldn't. Michigan Northwestern, we stayed off. Southern Miss Troy, we stayed off. Towson Hofstra, I thought it was going to be a spot that I would be riding Towson. I'm not. And then Stanford, Utah, CMAC, you're interested in an under.
Yeah, I'm just interested.
Then CMAC made Wichita plus 12.5 an official pick, and I want in on Wichita State as well. Oregon, Arizona, we stayed off, and I'm on Washington State first half plus 4. Now, there's a – oh, you want to jump in?
Yeah, I wanted to touch on a couple more games there real quick that I think I might be on. I'm looking at San Diego. The darling of Portland, I think, is kind of fall from last year. We were all over them. Even early on in the year, this year, they just played a close game, scored a ton of points, and this total is way up there. But I'm leaning to San Diego -2. And I think I'm going to grab this because I think this all goes to 13. Jamie, I don't want to lay points with Gonzaga. I think Santa Clara is pretty good. They've been struggling, though, a little bit as of late. I see a bunch of 13-ass, now 13s. I think I might be on that. I'll wait for the show later. But those are a couple of games I was looking at.
Interesting. And that was the final cut. I did cut Santa Clara from the Santa Clara game from the program. But CMAC on possibly San Diego and possibly Santa Clara. There are a ton of big games that we didn't get to that will all be broken down at 5 p.m. when CMAC is sitting beside Bobano. And then CMAC tweets out action that he makes official from, for our show here. So I will be waiting for that, and I will be retweeting it as soon as it comes out, and then we will continue to track our man CMAC's action. And I'm excited. Now. I've had back-to-back days where I did not end up in the black in college basketball, and I'm ready to attack. And then tomorrow will be another spot where we're all basketball all the time. Bobano will be joining us for college basketball, and then Dutch Boy Fresh for NBA. So I'm pumped up. CMAC, your golf show has been a big hit. We want to highlight it more. Mr. Gokster and you, is that every Monday?
Yeah, Monday, 1 Eastern.
And then I need you for our Tuesday night Super Bowl, big Super Bowl NFL Pub Hub. So we need you badly for that one Tuesday night. So if you can make time for that. And is there a chance you can join us at all for our Saturday day at the races?
Yeah, I'm going to jump on the afternoon. Yeah.
Sweet. Because then we got the Robert
college
B. Lewis.
Basketball. I got to take care of all that.
Yeah, for sure. we got Robert B. Lewis Stakes at Santa Anita. Nice little prep race for the Derby. So that will be the 3 prep races. It's big time prep time now. So all of our study going into thoroughbreds here. All right. There you have it, CMAC. Thank you so much for rolling with us. You can catch him here every Thursday, double up college basketball. There's so many games on the marquee on Thursday. So, it's great that he hammers it once, then he hammers it again with Bobano. Follow him on Twitter at Conor Mac Picks. Nunya, we appreciate you, my friend. CMAC, any last words for the Cappers here supporting the show?
Shout out to the chat as always. Best goddamn chat in the goddamn game. As I say always, thanks for having me on, Ginny. I will see you soon, my friend. Thanks.
We love it. There he is, Conor Mac, coming to us from Las Vegas, Nevada. Let's do a quick review of NBA. LJ's on the Lakers, first quarter minus half, plus 102. I'm on the under 240, and I'm thinking about being public on the Lakers full game. Lee Davis, I have 0 college basketball futures. Maybe the first time I can remember that. I have nothing, nada. So it's a strange place to be. I love, when you deal with the local that is credit. I've been trying to cut down my futures for a long time. But none. Rocco says, kind of want the Zags here tonight. That is, beautiful. Lee Davis has got some gems coming your way in a bit. I'll DM you on Twitter. I love it, Lee. That's I love about our squad, man. We're in it together. I'm on the under 223.5 in Memphis, Cleveland Cavaliers. The under 223.5 also came out. That was razor sharp picks. Gambler's first glance is the under 223.5 from our guy Razor, who will be joining me all day Saturday. He's on the under 223.5 in Memphis, Cleveland. Then we move on from that one as LJ's on Memphis third quarter plus 1.5. And look, the Cavs and the Lakers are public spots, and I'm already on the Heat. I mean, I'm not usually that kind of a gambler, so it makes me nervous to want to add them. But let's just take one last look. Heat right now have 67% of tickets and 40% of cash, a situation I'm almost never in. Cavs right now have 65% of tickets and 93% of the cash. I wonder if that's still at 6. And then the Lakers right now 57 and 66. So I'll have to make some decisions whether I want to add them. I already have 5 bets on this card, I should say. Heat minus 2 I have. LJ's got the Knicks third quarter plus 0.5, and I have some interest in the Heat team total over. I also have some interest in the over in Charlotte, Chicago. LJ's on the Bulls first half minus 3 at minus 112. I'm on the under 224.5 minus 110 in Pelicans, Mavericks, and I do have interest in the Mavs here with the Pelicans having these travel issues and not being able to practice today. Jarek White's already on the Lakers. LJ's on the Nuggets first quarter over 59.5. Then I'm on the over 231.5. This is going to point away from me in Clippers Bucks, and I'm thinking about moving on Bucks first quarter. But again, I mean, I'm nervous about some of these additions here, so I'm going to take some time with them before I move on them. LJ's on the Bucks first half minus 2. And then DC Capper on his way driving to the casino as we speak. He's got big bets on Northern Colorado plus 7. He's got BYU minus 5. Then he's got Wright State plus 5 and Stanford plus 6. Those are big bets from our guy. There you have it. That is our show for today. And we have a big weekend ahead of us. So we have tomorrow another Betting with the Bag with Bobano and Dutch Boy Fresh. And then we have all day Saturday horse racing. And I'm really, really excited to get back with the thoroughbreds. And then the big story for us, for me at least, is I'm hosting our big Tuesday NFL Super Bowl Pub Hub. And I'm excited. Shaolin Jay says, anyone like Santa Clara? C-Mac likes Santa Clara. He hasn't moved on him yet, but he likes it. We have nothing without these great cappers in the chat. You guys bring so much to the show. Insights, angles, statistics, and humor. And you make it so special. So thank you guys so much. Craig Wood, I'm going to bet Ohio State. Don't worry. I'm going to move on them. I'm just wondering whether or not it's a double up spot. Craig Wood, Shaolin J, Thieves by Law, Jarek White, Equinimus, J Dub, Lee Davis, Rocco Rogers, Billy Friedrich, Don Play, Nunya, DC Capper, Loopy, Leroy Flood, Jake Burns. Thank you guys. Justin McElvey, Real Deal Prime, John Todd. Thank you guys. Rich Abraham, Turnsy, Mally Mal. Now let's go out there. Let's do what we do best. Make the fucking money. Let's do that. Troy Torrance on Ohio State. Bulls money line. Central Connecticut money line. Lakers -1. Let's get it. Let's get that money. Big thank you to our producer, Jose Bouquet, who works tirelessly to give us everything we need to succeed on these shows. And thank you for your hard work, Jose. Now let's go with your get the papier. Leche! Hey, los bookmakers. Palooza 2 on the horizon. We're going to have live shows popping off in the Southtown 101. We're going to have a poker tournament, a par 3 golf tournament, UFC San Antonio on the Saturday night. A lot of excitement. Palooza 2, baby.